right. Wide open Torrence! Oh, baby! Touchdown! How do you leave the best receiver in the NAIA that wide open?
You show, and that's what we do! Cat!
You're proud of me?
And it's caught! Oh my goodness! Troy Torrence comes down with it!
Welcome all to Bankroll Blitz right here on Pub Sports Radio. I'm joined by my co-host, as always, Mr. Troy Torrence. We are coming off of a rough week 2, which we will go over. I'm out for blood. I'm ready to attack. The stakes are high, and things can get away from you. This is as must-win a week as I've ever faced in my life. Troy Torrence, how are you?
I am ready to get back into it. That Texans game was, it's basically an 8-unit swing when you have 4 plays. I'm not saying I should have won that game. Honestly, that was a game I could let go and I could swallow. But, yeah, tough. Still tough when you look at the scoreboard at the end of the day.
Some tough L's.
But I'm taking the risk. I'm not, I come from a background of gambling where where you're spread betting, where you have a 4-unit range in theory, at least a 4-unit range, and you're able to spread based on the perceived edge you have. So I got to get more down, which makes it look silly. Honestly, my card looks silly at the end of the day. But I have to have it reflect what's actually happening to my bankroll.
The totals were a mess, horrible mess for me. 1-5, 0-4 on unders. There were 2 games that I doubled up. But it's a problem, and I need to fix it right now. And I plan on fixing that right now. I have made 8 bets. There's a bunch more that I'm ready to make. I just want to talk it out a little bit more. Thank you to everyone joining us here. It is Tuesday, September 16th. We got Omer Gaudet joining us from France. It is great to see you. A monster start to his season. There's Flea Mathis ready to get to work. Gorky moving on the Colts, Packers, and Seahawks. Great to see you, Gorky. We got D. Jenkins in the house. Londo, A.M., Harold Williams, Dougie Wise, T. Moss, Terry Walker. Great to see all of you guys. Ken Wood in the house. Thank you for joining us. I'm excited, but I took a bath, and it was very costly, and I was in such a great spot, with the bankroll and where I was and how things were going, and I just took a bath, and I need to fix that right here and right now. I went 5-12, down 8.04 units. It all started when Tennessee scored very late in the first half to screw up my Rams double result and cost me the first half under 21. I ended up going 0-3 in that game. Lost the Rams double result. Lost the Rams Tennessee first half under 21. Lost the Rams Tennessee full game under 42. Pushed the Eagles first half. Cashed the Eagles full game. Cashed the Bengals -3, which was a shock. Cashed the Jacksonville Cincinnati over 48.5. I think that Jacksonville overs are going to pay us out until the market corrects itself, and it won't be able to correct itself for like 3 weeks. I've doubled up on the overs in Houston, Jacksonville that are very low because of Houston's inability to score, but against that Jacksonville defense. Look, if Browning can score on 4 of 8 drives, come on.
And I got something to say about the Bucks defense as well, because I've seen some things that I absolutely love, and I might have missed in their first matchup this week season.
Well, let's keep rolling here. So Jets plus 6.5 was horrific. Seattle, Pittsburgh first half under and full game under, was bad. But if that, kick return is, if there isn't a player in Johnson who doesn't know what he's doing out there on the field, they were right there for the taking. Both of those unders, which don't come to fruition. Things like that happen, and it happened, and it hurt. So lost those. Cash with Seattle +3. Lost with the Vikings double result. That was horrible. Lost with Houston -2.5. That one hurt. Lost with Miami -132. I thought I was going to cash that. Lost with the Dolphins double result. Cash with the Chargers -3. Lost with the Vikings Texans moneyline parlay. Pushed the Chargers Raiders first half over 23. That was lucky. That should have been an L. And then I lose the over 46.5. A horrifying week. I had a bad preseason and a great week 1. So I'm in rough shape, 29 and 31, 48.3% down, 5.48 units, ROI minus 9.13%, average line minus 108, and I have to win now. This week, I have to win. I like pressure. I want pressure. I feel the pressure, and I'm going to get paid this week. Troy Torrence, go over the week that was. I'm ready to attack the board. Talk to us about what happened this week for you.
All right, I'm going to break down my bets into 3 sections: the bad beats, the good bet, or not the bad beats, the bad bets, the good bets, and the ones that could have went either way. The bad bets were obvious. The Jets plus 6.5, the Jets plus 7, doubled up. That was basically dead in the first quarter. The Bears plus 6, another one that was dead pretty early. The Vikings double result and the Vikings minus 3, probably the worst bet of the week, or the one that was the most frustrating, because I did triple up on that spot because I had the Vikings in the money line parlay with the Packers. Those were bad bets. The good bets, the Packers minus 3, the Packers money line parlay with the Chargers, the Colts, the Rams teaser. That was really never in doubt. I guess maybe at halftime when the Rams were down 3 at one point. The Eagles money line, Eagles minus 1. I feel like that was a good bet, even though there's some ways that game could have changed direction or trajectory. The Chargers minus 3 and the Chargers money line. Those are good bets. The ones that could have went either way, the Jaguars plus 3.5. I feel like I was in a good position when, Burrow goes down and Browning throws 3 interceptions, but I guess not.
Crazy.
The Colts money line, Colts plus 2.5, Colts plus 1. I was feeling extremely lucky about that game. And you go back and you watch, what happened in that game. Then PFF comes out with the noise adjusted score of 37-27. So I started to feel like that was a game that could have went either way. I would have put that in. I was thinking about putting that against my, variance numbers that I use. Texans money line, quadrupled up on the Texans with the money line, 2 bets on the spread, and I had a money line parlay with the Chargers, and that could have went either way down the stretch. So, really bad week. Obviously, took it on the chops. Was up 4 units last week, so I had a 6-unit swing. If the Texans win, I finish up 3 units instead of down 5 units. That's how slim the margins are, and I'm ready to get into it.
I'm ready to get into it too. The transparency is crucial. It's the change we want in the industry. It's the change that
last year through week 7, I was chasing 25 units. The year before that, I was heading into playoffs up over 50 units. Finished in good shape, but let's grind. I'm ready to grind it out, man.
I'm ready to. Thank you guys so much for joining us here on Pub Sports Radio. Thank you to our producer, Jose Bouquet. Let's get to work. We start Thursday, September 18th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern with the Miami Dolphins 0-2, 0-1 on the road to the Buffalo Bills, 2-0, 1-0 at home, Highmark Stadium, Orchard Park, New York, 68 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Last Tuesday, I wasn't on the Dolphins. Throughout the week, I got stronger and stronger on them, doubled up on them, and God, there was a second there where I thought I'd cashed it.
You brought me along there too, but the market brought me along. Everything was bringing me along. I ended up getting on the Dolphins. I forgot to mention that one. It's definitely showing in my record right now, though. I had the Dolphins money line as well. So.
Yeah, no, and it's part of the record that's there. It's all there. Rich H joining us. Ron Crawford started a spreadsheet play today. Old E in the house. Slatsy says Jalen Johnson likely done for the season. Same old Bears. The Bears have injury issues like many teams this week, and that's where I focused a lot of my work on, was the injury issues. Spreadsheet play today is in for Ron Crawford's Cleveland plus 8. I mean, I had 8.5. I was staring at, wanting to bet it. Then it goes to 8. I'm still just staring at it. 7.5. I'm still just staring at it. It's been very frustrating not moving on.
You got to get a mole. You got to get a mole to get access to that FanDuel account, because thank God that was where I started my sports betting career, because I went deep into the red right off the bat. And that's where you get the public sentiment coming in that's going to skew the line, just that little half full point that gives you an edge.
Yeah, and I still could get there. I'm just angry at this point. But we're in Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York for Thursday night. 68 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. We're going to be using BOL line history here.
What's going on?
There's some issues on my site with the sports book that we usually use. So we're going to be using BOL line movements. This one opened up with the Dolphins plus 10.5. The first move, this came out last Tuesday, was towards the Dolphins. They were a 10. Sure enough, Sunday comes along. It's a 12.5 when it reopens after the games. gets up to 13. Now we're back at 11.5. So overall, from the look ahead, it's a 1 point move towards the Bills. From when this line came out on Sunday night, it's a 1 point move towards the Dolphins. Those are important to know the difference between. On the total here, we have a 49.5. This look ahead was 48.5 last Tuesday. On Sunday night, it opened up at 49. This got up to 50 before moving back to 49.5 4 hours ago on Tuesday early evening. Let's get to the cash flow then for our Thursday nighter. 88% of the tickets, 90% of the cash on the Buffalo Bills. You know, I get it. Look, I've faded the Bills 2 weeks in a row, and I don't have a lot to show for it. 70% of the tickets, 92%. I have some agony and some sadness. I have some adjectives. 70% of tickets on the over and 92% of cash on the over. Dougie Wise says, I think Miami is the side, but not backing them bums. Donut Silks in the house. I can't wait to talk about your Browns, Donut Silks. Dolphins coming off a 33-27 loss at home to the Patriots to open up the season 0-2 for the first time under Mike McDaniel. They have now allowed 66 points through 2 games. And this is an interesting total. I mean, if we know that they can put up points too. I mean, we didn't see that in Indianapolis. You know, we certainly saw that against the Patriots. They let the Patriots get whatever they wanted. Patriots put up 333 total yards. I know that's not a ridiculous amount of yards, but the Patriots go 7 of 12 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. They let them get what they wanted. Tua Tagovailoa was 26 of 32 for 315 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. Tyreek Hill caught 6 for 109 yards. That 47-yard catch in the third quarter was his first reception of 30 yards or more since last season's opener.
Did you see the interviews on that?
I did not. Can you tell me about
it? He was pissed. You know, he has a history of violence and abuse, and it looked like he was about to abuse the reporter. It was hilarious.
Well, I want him to care.
Yeah, right. You could tell it irked him. You could really see that it did.
But that was the first reception of 30 or more since last year's opener. That's a long time. Jalen Waddle caught 5 for 68 and a touchdown. The Dolphins only got 1 first down on the ground all game. Well, you're not going to win football games. You're not going to win football games. You're not going to control the clock. You're not going to control momentum. You're not going to keep their defense on the field to tire them out. You're not going to rest your defense if you can't get first downs on the ground. Devon Achane had 11 carries for just 30 yards, but he did make 8 catches for 92 yards and a touchdown. Offense was 4 of 10 on third down, 0 of 2 on fourth down, and 1 of 2 in the red zone. Malik Washington returned a punt 74 yards to the house, and what happened? Gibson just brought it right back on the very next play. It was just the roller coaster ride of nightmares. Pass rush had 3 sacks, but the defense looked awful. I mean, the Colts scored points on all 7 drives against the Dolphins defense in week 1. They allowed the Patriots to score on their first 3 drives. The only reason why this streak stopped at 10 straight drives is because the Pats ended the first half with a kneel down. Chop Robinson went down in the fourth quarter, grabbing his left knee. He's listed as questionable this week. McDaniel told reporters yesterday that Melifonwu is not going to play Thursday night. So he's still dealing with the calf injury. Their offensive line's been dealing with injuries and the retirement of Teron Armstead. They now have to deal with more injuries. James Daniels was put on IR with a pectoral injury after the game. Austin Jackson was put on IR with a toe injury. 2 guards gone. Storm Duck was not available. Either was Ethan Bonner. 2 cornerbacks. Defensive tackle Benito Jones was not available due to injury, and he's listed as questionable. Let's start out with the Dolphins. Troy, the state of affairs is not good. This is a big double-digit price here for a divisional game, which is appealing. Can you get there with the Dolphins?
I cannot get there with the Dolphins, and it mostly has to do with this market. So the first thing I look at, this price range is starting to fascinate me. I was digging into it last week in the Browns-Baltimore Ravens game, and if you look at favorites between 10.5 and 14, right, between those key numbers, there's 43 games in that sample. Only 1 game that's closed in that 43-game sample has moved towards the road team. So I would expect this line to start ticking back up towards the Buffalo Bills here throughout the week. So if you want the Bills, you might want to start looking at them now. Also, home favorites of greater than 10 in the first 10 weeks of the season, 16-6 ATS, 73%. 21-1 straight up, 95%. In the first 5 weeks, 6-2 ATS, 75%, 8-0 straight up. And if the total is greater than 47, 5-1 ATS, they're averaging 33 points, and that should probably be right around what their team total is, like pretty close. I would say that if you're considering a Bills team total, the spread is probably more likely, but I guess, you can leave that up to your own handicap. I think about the Dolphins, the cancer-ridden Dolphins. That's kind of how I've described them this year. The defense is clearly bottom 3 in the NFL. The offense is handicapped because of terrible offensive line play. And we talk about this cancer, and I truly believe that's going to be the case. This would be a game where I think the Dolphins' run game could get going, obviously, because the Bills' defense, I'm not sure if I'm not bullish on this defense, despite what they did against the Jets. They caught the Jets. You put the Jets as a type of team like the Browns that if they get too far behind, they're not going to be able to catch up. They're not built that way. They're built on running the football first. So I was not surprised to see that game get out of control early. And that's not going to be the case this one. I think the back door will be open, which gives me cause for concern. But I do have the Bills. I have a ticket with the Bills on the money line. How square is that? But the numbers, the market history in this sample is just, it's undeniable. And there's no way I could back the Dolphins in this matchup.
I am backing up your trend there. I am saying the early season juggernaut, weeks 1 to 9, double-digit favorite at home. Bet the heavy favorite, 24-12 against the spread since 2021. Bills coming off a dominant 30-10 victory at the Jets. They outgained the Jets 403-154.
So Jimmy, I just want to piggyback on that, because if you flip it, toggle it from weeks 1 through 10, and then flip it to greater than 10, and you're talking about a 20-11 ATS trend for the road team late in the season, where I guess the Lions have just got completely mispriced. Guys are starting to sit out and get injured. This is why I was going to talk about the injuries that you brought up and capping injuries. And I feel like I've moved away from that. And it's because I've always overreacted. The star player removal theory, that kind of conversation. And I just feel like I don't want to put way too much, all this prefaces the whole cap today. It's just, I don't want to get too caught up in injuries, because at the end of the day, it's the line being offered. That's really the books are going to account for that.
They are going to account for that, yes.
Better than I can.
No, I think it's crucial here, because there was a lot more injuries that I didn't know about. There were injured. A lot of players who completely played the game came out with an injury that we didn't know about. So we're going to try to discuss all of those players on this show. Josh Allen, 14-25 for 148 yards. That's all he needed. This guy is such a pro. Ran 6 times for 59 yards. Just doesn't have to do too much. If he needs to, he does it. If not, he just keeps in control and calm. We have Swish in the house, and he says back-to-back 100-yard games for James Cook, expecting one again here. He ran 21 times for 132 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Bills ran 43 times for 224 yards. Joshua Palmer led receivers with 2 catches for 47 yards. That was it. The Bills outgained the Jets 247-78 in the first half. Limited fields to 2 of 8 passing for 25 yards. They dominated time of possession, which I imagine they're going to do here against the Dolphins. But they were just 2 of 4 in the red zone. They were just 5 of 14 on third down. They weren't being pressured into, forcing or risking or trying, really, really forcing to get the third downs. They were just never in a position where they needed to really worry or press.
Right. They were not pressed at all. You're absolutely right.
The defense was excellent. They held the Jets to 11 first downs in the game. You want to know why they weren't pressed? They held the Jets to 0 for 11 on third down. Held the Jets to 54 yards passing. Come on. Pass rush was strong. 4 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Jets finished with 154 total yards. That's the fewest allowed by the Bills in a road game since 1990. That's insane. I mean, they just dominated. And without Ed Oliver, who was so spectacular in week 1, they didn't even need him. Matt Milano is dealing with a pectoral injury. We're not sure if he's going to be able to play. He did not participate in the walkthrough yesterday. Shaq Thompson and Teron Johnson missed the game and are listed as questionable. This team has a lot of older veteran players. I think there's going to be a lot of times when these vets sit out, but they have depth. Take it away for us here, the Buffalo Bills.
Josh Allen is just incredible. I mean, they were not pressed, but they still had 4 drives of 60 or more yards. That's long, grueling drives that it's just wear you out when the scoreboard starts looking lopsided and they're just marching on you for their 4th 60-yard drive. I mean, it's the most like depressing feeling in the world to be on that defense. I feel like I was right there on that defense. We were playing Mount Carmel and we could not stop the triple option. And Jordan Lynch, did he win a Grey Cup? No, maybe.
Look it up.
He played in the CFL. No, he didn't win a Grey Cup, but he played in the CFL. He was. Yeah, it's just so devastating as a defense to have that happen. I mean, Josh Allen's putting up MVP-based numbers again, number 1 on the charts, EPA per dropback, net value, just pretty much every advanced metric you look at. I still believe that this defense is below average, especially versus specific offensive schemes, and that's going to be schemes that are predicated on being able to run the ball, triple option schemes. Schemes that are I thought the Jets were lined up to have that offensive performance versus this Bills team. I was wrong about that, so take that for what it is. But a lot of times I've been proven right about this defense, and somehow Josh Allen pulls it out at the end. The man is Superman. So I'm backing the Bills, Jimmy. I mean, it's hard to get behind this big of a spread. It's hard to fight the numbers that we've seen from week 1 to week 10. I am very bullish on a game later today, which, the price is starting to get away, but I did bet a Colts-Bills money line parlay at minus 134. And I feel like just looking at the history of this market, that's the current standing of these two teams, the fact that this game is on prime time, it's not a noon game, a sleepy spot. The Bills are going to come out ready to play this game. I don't think there's a chance they lose. I hate to say free, but I feel like I'm going to eat those words probably by saying that, to be honest. But I don't think the Bills are losing this game.
I don't think so either. And I guess maybe I can just come to grips with the 11.5. They put out I mean, you guys just talked about these juggernaut home teams of double-digit spreads and just having the confidence to bet them. I don't know why I wouldn't here. I guess I have 2 options. I can move on this 11.5 right now, which I don't think is a terrible decision. And the other option is I could knock it down to 6.5 and then use it, as a parlay piece.
Well, I will say this. There's only 2 games in the sample where they won by 5 and 3. All the rest of the games were over 6 points, so a touchdown or more. And only 2 games landed on 10 or 11. So I'm almost like, the money line, 90, 21 and 1. 95% over the past 3 years on the money line. I don't know why I want to just take the spread, just talking this out. But it's
talking this out, I think I might move on Vincent Hawkins looking at the Bills team total over. If you are on the Bills team total over, you better hope the Dolphins score some touchdowns, because the Bills will put this game to sleep, keep everybody healthy, make it a business. It's just a business meeting. Take care of business and move on, have the extra rest for next week. So Vince Hawkins, the Bills team total over, also requires the Dolphins to score, because we just saw them play the Jets and not need to do anything and then not do anything. So you know what? This cap has got me onto the Bills.
The Dolphins defense. I mean, look what the Patriots were able to do. And the Colts just walked all over them. I mean, let's go, Jimmy. I mean, I want to say I want to wait for a 11 or a 10.5. I don't think it's even worth it to wait. I think I might regret waiting.
Yeah.
It's definitely not worth buying to an 11, which would be like minus 118 I can get.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth that either, but AM says he's in no rush to bet. Okay, well, look, I've got a plan together. I'm not going to hit the total. I don't want to hit a total where I need a Dolphins team that's heartless and falling apart in front of us to put up points. And you there, if you want the over 49.5, how many points do the Dolphins have to put up for you to cash that? At least, I mean, you'd want 20. They have to go over 17.5. So I don't want to have anything where I need the Dolphins to deliver. Now, I'm still interested in backing them at times at home, like I did last week. But all right,
You could also take a double result as a parlay piece. It's another way to approach this game. Yeah, let's loop back on this one when we talk about our action.
Well, wait, let's just see what the double result is. You were right. That's better. That's minus 210. That makes more sense than taking it to down to 6.5, because that here at 365 at least that would cost minus 275. You were right. That would probably be the better use of. Okay, I think I'm going to be involved with the Bills here. I'm going to be involved with the Bills here. I've just got to be creative and not, it'll just be a 1-unit spot, but I need to be creative in how I maneuver it. But yes, I think the Bills are an absolute juggernaut, and the stats that you guys have to back up the trend, to back up the angle, works for me. All right, let's roll. D. Jenkins says, are we sure we're not overreacting to the way Fields made the Bills D look great? I still don't trust the Bills D. No, we don't. And the Bills D is going to, and it's dealing with injuries now. It's going to continue to deal with injuries. They're a really old group of defenders. A lot of them past their prime. So Sky Dragon says, I could only look Miami.
It's just they're not generating any line yard. They're 32nd in run block win rate. They're 29th in run block PFF grade. And the Dolphins have played the Colts and the Pats, whose defenses, are a little bit slightly above average at best case scenario. So is the Bills defense average? Can they be average? That's all we need them to be here.
Sky Dragon said Washington had an old defense last week. It's a Thursday. There is a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that, Sky Dragon. But all right, let's roll on. Next up for us, we head to Sunday. Green Bay Packers, Cleveland Browns. I have already doubled up on the under in this game.
Oh, shit.
I'm on the first half under 21.5 at plus 100. I'm on the full game under 42 at minus 107. And I don't know why. I heard last night on our live stream a bunch of cappers tell me why I shouldn't be on the Browns. And maybe that got in my head, but it was 8.5, went down to 8. Now it's 7.5. I want the Browns. I want the Browns at home. We're in Huntington Bank Field in Cleveland, Ohio. 79 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 11 miles per hour. We had them week 1. I stayed off them week 2. And I want them here. But part of me feels like the double up on the under is sort of having them. This is a 41.5 here. It opened up. The look ahead was 43. On Sunday night after the games were played, this was a 42.5. It went down to 42 today at 12:38 p.m. And it went down to 41.5 less than an hour ago. So we are moving down, and I have doubled up on the unders in this one. We get to the spread here. There's 7s. There are 7.5s. This look ahead was 7. That night, Tuesday night, this went down to 6.5. Then on Sunday, when the lines came out, this was a 9. Dropped down to 8 and dropped 7.5. I had the 8.5 staring at me. And maybe it's okay that I didn't pull the trigger, I guess. Let's get into the cash flow here for this one. I'm still pretty upset. I should have come here with this 8.5 in my pocket, and I didn't. And it's upsetting. There's 92% of tickets on the over and 93% of cash on the over. I really like the under in this one. So I'm hoping that. Look, I see a 41 at circa. This is great. All this money on the over, and they keep opening up their arms to anyone who wants to bet it. That's a pretty nice situation to be in. 71% of the tickets and 89% of cash on Green Bay, and this line's moving towards the Browns. So Packers get extra rest and prep after their 27-18 win at home over the Commanders on Thursday night. They outgained the Commanders 404 to 230. Jordan Love 19-31 for 292 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tucker Kraft caught 6 passes for a career high 124 yards and a touchdown. Shout out to our friend Kong's Clips. That was his birthday on Thursday, and he gave us the birthday present. He gave us Tucker Kraft touchdown plus 235. Great capper. Kong's clips is. It was the first time Kraft had 100 yards receiving in college or the pros. Jacobs ran 23 times for 84 yards and a touchdown. The offense was 3 of 4 in the red zone. The defense was excellent from start to finish. Washington gained 11 yards in the first quarter. They didn't get to the end zone until fourth quarter. The pass rush wreaked havoc on a poor Commanders offensive line, sacking Jaden Daniels 4 times, hitting him 12 times. They held the Commanders to 6 of 19 on 3rd and 4th down, only allowed them 1 trip to the red zone. But they did all this. They did it without Zach Tom with the quad injury, Aaron Banks. So they're a tackle and a guard with an ankle and groin injury. It's unclear if they're going to be here. Jaden Reed broke his collarbone in the first quarter. 33-yard touchdown catch, nullified by a penalty. And that's a big loss. They're already down Christian Watson. He hopes to return in week 5. The Browns come in off an ugly 41-17 loss at Baltimore.
Jimmy, what receiver did you say was down?
Jaden Reed broke his collarbone. The Browns come in off an ugly 41-17 loss at Baltimore. And was that? I thought that in my head, I thought that they went over 41. For some reason, I thought they got a late score and went over the 17. The Browns actually outgained the Ravens 323 to 242. They just everything went wrong for the Browns, and the Ravens are just too classy of a squad. If you're a bad team and you block a punt or you pick up a fumble, you're in big trouble. Flacco is 25-45 for 199 yards, touchdown and a pick. He also lost a fumble. Dylan Gabriel cleaned up the garbage time. Did throw his first career touchdown pass. Quinshon Judkins looked very good in his first career game. Ran 10 times for 61 yards. I think he's going to be a big help. So is your boy Harold Fannin Jr. He caught 5 more passes, 48 yards. Jerry Jeudy caught 4 for 51. The defense did some good things. Like, we can get caught up in scores sometimes, but they held the Ravens to 81 yards of offense in the first half. They held the Ravens to 3 of 12 on 3rd down, but they did allow them to go 3 of 4 in the red zone. It's a dangerous team with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. We know what they do in the red zone. They held the Ravens to 2 rushing first downs and 45 rushing yards.
45 rushing yards, Jim. 45.
That's it.
That's insane. That is insane. You'll never see that again this entire season from the Ravens.
Derrick Henry was held to 23 yards on 11 attempts. That 45 yards that Troy was talking about there is the lowest team total since Jackson took over at quarterback in 2018, only including games that he started. They've had lower rushing numbers in the game where he was injured. The secondary allowed Lamar Jackson 4 passing touchdowns. The pass rush, 3 sacks, 5 quarterbacks hits. DeAndre Carter left with a concussion, so he's in concussion protocol. So, look, I'm on the first half under 21.5, full game under 42. I like the bets a lot. They're low numbers. Public's on the over. I'm on the under. And I would like to have the Browns in my pocket, but I kind of feel like the line's passed me by. Birdie says that he is on the Browns. There's a world where Washington offense is just not good. Flacco variance makes the total very difficult. So far, it has been Browns score, feast, cover, Browns no scoring, and no cover. Take it away for us here. Vincent Hawkins on the Browns first half. Omar Gaudet looking at the Browns as well. Take it away for us here, Troy. Packers, Browns, Huntington, Bankfield.
I mean, typically this market we're looking at is a divisional market. Over 50% of the sample is in division. The non-divisional sample is very small. It does favor the Packers, but generally speaking, you remove the divisional filter, home dogs between 7 and 8.5 or 15 and 5 ATS in the past 3 years. So I like to see that off the bat. I guess I'll start with the Packers just because I was literally so impressed. So I did move on a -3. I moved on that Thursday morning and on the Packers last week versus the Commanders. And a lot of that had to do with Jeff Hafley. So last year I was talking about how I love the stunts they do, but they really didn't have no substance. Like, they try to do some things that I like to see, but they weren't successful with it. I think Micah Parsons unlocked a whole new level for this Packers team to reach, and it's because of Jeff Hafley. I just, go back and watch the tape and watch these inverted zones, the late rotations, just extraordinary in coverage. And you don't have a lot of time to think when you have Micah coming off the edge. And if you try to double him, you're going to be dealing with the stunt. So if you're stunting with, 2 successful edge rushers like the Packers have, I don't know if this Packers defense, what we've seen is, I believe it's real. What we're seeing, I think it has a lot to do with the scheme and the addition of Micah Parsons and Jordan Love. I've been talking to him as an elite quarterback. I saw the way they were priced. I thought it was very bullish for this Packers team. He's one of the only quarterbacks that drives the ball outside of the hash, outside of the numbers, in the intermediate and deep range. He does it with accuracy, with confidence. He steps into his throw. He has great mechanics. He should have a higher completion rate if you look at the composite scores. 12.5 yards is his ADOT. I just love the polarized scheme, and he executes it perfectly. But what has he seen this year so far? He's seen a lot of zone coverage, especially this past week. Actually, they flipped and they started playing more man coverage. Both teams did, to try to stop what this offense was bringing. But Jordan Love is significantly better for zone coverage. His completion rate drops by 6%. His yards per attempt drop by a half a yard, and his passer rating drops by a full 10 points. Jaden Reed this year was their best route runner versus man. He had the biggest separation rate. He's not going to be there. Watson, he was last year by far and away their best wide receiver versus man coverage. He's not going to be there. Tucker Kraft is next. He's been a great versus man coverage. A lot of that's in the red zone in play action situations. But good luck with Devin Bush, who's the fourth best coverage linebacker. And the guys above him are guys that don't even take a lot of snaps. So Devin Bush is probably the best coverage linebacker, especially because he's in man coverage so often. I feel like this is a good matchup for the Browns. And obviously, you look at the Browns, I was shocked to see this. I had to go. There were some games I didn't get as much into because I got caught just looking at a few games. This was one of them. The noise-adjusted score on this game was 23-18. Browns lose by 5. Clearly, they were having success defensively. We know a top 3 pass rush, and the good pass rush begets good coverage, and everything else just falls into place. An improved tackling team effort. Last year, they were one of the worst tackling teams. This year, they're one of the best. And Schweisinger in the middle. He's a rook. He's young, and he's going to be an all-star.
A monster.
He plays the middle hook if he has to. He's quality against the run. He's great. He has the speed to keep up with Lamar Jackson. You could see him running from sideline to sideline. I think he's going to be elite. And I like this Browns team. I like the number. I would prefer to get an 8.5 over 7.5. I'm starting to put so much more value on that 8 and on the 2. But I did. I moved on the Browns plus 8.5. I posted it earlier at minus 115.
I should be with you. I really like.
It's really unfortunate because like this Browns offensive line is just, I don't know. Like obviously, there's the running back room is still trying to get there. At the offensive line cannot generate line yards. They're not being able to run the ball successfully. But I just need their defense to be there and make an impact this game, and I think they stay within the number.
Yeah, I want to be involved. I like my position on the under.
Oh, Omer, I'm thinking about moving on the Packers futures. I've been talking about it now for over a week, and I really believe the Packers are a team. Like I feel like this could be an upset for them. I mean, nobody's going to have a perfect season. Their first game on the road. Their first 2 games, they had the Lions outdoors with new player callers and a new offensive line. The second game, they had a Commanders team with regression written all over them. So now you're going on the road against the 0-2 desperate Browns team that's not playing like they're giving up. They're still playing. And especially at home, I expect them to play hard.
Do you think that this line is going to move back to the Packers at some point? Or do you think there is just the sharp money is going to dictate everything? It closes at 7?
Yeah, I don't think it closes above 8 unless we get some injury news. I don't think that's the case. I think this number is extremely, very strong. Very strong in favor of the Packers right now where it's opened.
Troy is on the Browns. The Browns plus 8.5 at minus 115. I'm on the first half under 21.5. I could have moved that to 22. I chose to keep it at 21.5 plus money. And the full game under 42. Shout out to our guy, WT, winning his pool this week. Won the weekly confidence pool. I'd love to hear it. WT, my man, thank you so much for the dono. Always supporting the channel. Our guy, WT, down in beautiful Costa Rica. Living a good life, man. And I can't wait to get down there to share some beverages with you, my man. WT, thank you for the dono, my man. We roll on.
Wait, I got to bring one more thing up with the Browns because I do believe if they start getting down, if they start falling behind, I mean, we've seen it. This is not going to be a team that's going to be able to rally back from a large deficit. So keep that in mind. It could go, they could lose by margin here, but I think it's worth a bet.
I like the spot here. And so I should have come in with it, but there's a couple spots that I just held off and thought talk it out. Let's roll on to Troy's new favorite football team, the Indianapolis Colts. You went heavy on them last week. I only have their win total over 7. I cashed on them week 1. But I love seeing you hammer it in 3 different ways against the Broncos. Going up against the Titans in Nissan Stadium, Nashville, Tennessee, 87 Fahrenheit, hot, partly cloudy, 8-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the Colts sitting right now. Oh, there we go. The Colts sitting right now at -3.5. It's a very, very, very fishy short line, but it's moved pretty quickly. The look ahead was -2. Then on Sunday, when this arrived at 7:33 p.m., it was a 3. It moved to 3.5 this morning at 7:37 a.m. Now it's juiced pretty heavy at -113, the 3.5. So a 4 is on the way. From a total perspective here, we have 43.5 at a pick'em. The look ahead was 42.5. It came out at 43. It's gone up a half point since to 43.5. Cash flow wise, 72% of the tickets and 92. Oh, it just moved. It just moved as I was about. 72% of tickets and 87% of the cash is on the Indianapolis Colts. 94% of tickets and 88% of cash is on this over. Colts come in off an impressive 29-28 victory at home over the Broncos. They're the first team in the Super Bowl era not to punt in either of their first 2 games of the season.
So now that's okay, right?
You know what? I think that Steichen is absolutely, brilliant.
He is.
So I'm
finally seeing it.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his, and now we're seeing it. And saying this here, they've had 2 home games. So we have a few teams that have started at home in comfortable spots and succeeded, and now they get outside and leave the dome. So the Colts became the first team last week to score on every possession since 1977. This week, they opened with 2 field goals and a TD on their first 3 drives to make it 10 for 10. The streak ended when Tyler Warren was stopped short on a first down on a 4th and 1 with 7:28 left in the first half. This is the Colts' first 2-0 start since, how long do you think it's been? 2-0 start since?
Peyton.
2009. You're right. Can you believe that? I couldn't believe that.
It's crazy.
They outgained the Broncos 473 to 324. That's Luck, not Peyton, though, back then. Peyton had moved on at that point. They outgained the Broncos 473 to 324. Daniel Jones 23 of 34 for 316 yards, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. It was his first 300-yard game since September 17th, 2023. He's also yet to turn the ball over. Jonathan Taylor ran 25 times for 165 yards, caught 2 passes for 50 yards and a touchdown. He posted his 25th 100-yard game to break a tie with Eric Dickerson for the second most in franchise history. 14th overall pick, Tyler Warren caught 4 passes for 79 yards. Alec Pierce caught 4 passes for 68 yards, but they were just 2 of 6 in the red zone. That's, a place where Danny Dimes has had some trouble in his career. And the pass rush was nowhere to be found.
I'll definitely be going over the red zone stuff.
This team didn't get a sack or a quarterback hit against the Broncos.
Yeah.
Not a sack or a quarterback hit. They allowed the Broncos to go a perfect 3 of 3 in the red zone. Cam Bynum had an interception. Charvarius Ward missed the game with a concussion. And that issue has now been compounded by the loss of his backup cornerback, Jalen Jones. He's going to miss multiple weeks with a hamstring injury. This is a guy who started 17 games last year. Adding to the defensive worries is the status of Laiatu Latu. He sustained a hamstring injury. He's an important pass rusher. He sustained a hamstring injury, and he was unavailable to play. This happened Wednesday in practice, so he missed practice Thursday and Friday and did not play. The Titans coming off a 33-19 home loss to the Rams. They've now lost 8 straight games going back to last year, which makes Brian Callahan 3-16 as the Titans head coach. Cam Ward was 19 of 33 for 175 yards and a touchdown in his home opener. Also ran 4 times for 8 yards and lost a fumble. The offensive line allowed 5 sacks and 8 quarterback hits, but maybe this isn't a problem here. Because of what we saw from the Colts pass rush, at least with Latu missing. The offensive line could probably hold their own against these Colts. Calvin Ridley led receivers with 3 catches for 57 yards. Tony Pollard ran 20 times for 92 yards. The Titans were just 6 of 15 on third down, 1 of 3 in the red zone. The Rams put up 439 yards of offense on the Titans. Pass rush struggled, 1 sack, 6 quarterback hits. They did hold the Rams to 3 of 6 in the red zone. Cody Barton had an interception, but right guard Kevin Zeitler hurt an elbow late. He didn't return. He's listed as questionable this week. They're already missing J.C. Latham. He was unavailable last week, so we'll see if he's listed as questionable right now. So is defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat. He was not in the lineup either. Take it away for us here, Mr. Torrence. Colts, Titans, Nissan Stadium in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yeah, that's something I'm very wary of, is that pass rush for the Colts. What's that going to look like? But I definitely want to start with this market. Been talking about this number more. As the sample's grown, it's starting to stick out more. I've been noticing it, but now I think we got a big enough sample, and it's a very common number. This 3.5 number we're looking at, covered it now for multiple days. Even just yesterday, right, with the Chargers. Home teams that close +3, +3.5, 30 and 46 ATS, 24 and 61 straight up. I mean, you can look at this market any way you want it. Look at the open, 3.5, 3, 24 and 57 straight up. That's sub 30% on the money line, 28 and 48 ATS. I just feel like those numbers alone are going to make me pull the trigger on this team. And then you start playing around with the cash flow, right? Because we're going to be concerned that the public is on the road favorite. But if you filter it down, 3 or 3.5, right? Open and close 3.5. I think that's where this number is going to close, destined to close. Filter it to where the percentage of bets is greater than 60%. The road team is 12 and 4 ATS, 75%. So, and you can do the same thing with the cash instead of the bets. It's the same result. I love the market. The market's not going to scare me off. And I've tried to, I feel like I'm pretty balanced in terms of betting, very public, but also very sharp sides, depending on what the market history says. Do I get a green light? I think I got a very big fat green light in this game.
Yeah, I get it.
So, yeah, and I feel like my read on the Titans team was right. I feel like it was spot on. I was talking about their play action, their lack of offensive creativity. I feel like the coaching staff is not very good. And the 10 points they scored in the last 38 seconds before half was an atrocity. This team really only scored 9 points. If you look at Cam Ward, second worst in EPA per dropback, second worst in CPOE and EPA. His pressure to sack rate is 33%. That's their third worst behind Tua and JJ McCarthy. So how great does this Colts defensive line need to be? How much pressure do they need to apply? Is there a lot of noise going on in the background behind me, Jim?
We can hear a little bit, but I know what it's like being a young father. It's all good. I mean,
I'm yelling for help here. I'm giving a pitch on my favorite game of the week. Here I am. Okay. But the Colts, I talked about this. The noise-adjusted score in their game versus the Broncos was 37-27. They had 400. You talked about the offensive number, 7.1 yards per play, 400, almost 500 yards of total offense versus the vaunted Broncos defense. They won the turnover battle 1-0. I was thinking I was lucky because of the leverage call at the end of the game. I got to kick the field goal, get the money line cash. But when I had to rewatch this game because some things pissed me off in this game. And it was, first of all, the play calling at the very end of the game, instead of kicking a 63-yard field goal. Are we going to be aggressive, Shane? You put up all this great offensive numbers all game, and when push comes to shove and you have to win the game, you're going to run the ball into the teeth of the defense. When they're giving you, maybe it was Daniel Jones. I hope that's the case where he had a chance to check out of it. I couldn't tell based on what I watched in that last series, rewatching it, but I had to go back and look at the red zone because the red zone numbers stuck out to me. The first time they were in the red zone, they took 3 points. Daniel Jones missed a throw. They had a 3-yard carry, and then Daniel Jones missed a read. So he missed a throw on an open receiver to the right side of the back of the end zone. He was wide open, and Daniel Jones missed a read. So they settled for 3. Very disappointing. The second drive, they picked up a play action for 8 yards, a read option where Daniel Jones missed a read. He lost 4 yards. He should have handed the ball off. It was just a read option. It wasn't an RPO. It was a handoff or a keep. He misread the end. He was supposed to read right, and he kept it. Lost 4 yards. They ended up having to kick a field goal. The third drive, a sack. There was just great defensive call. I'm going to give it to him. And then the fourth drive, this was the worst one to me because it was such an important drive. On first down, 2 reads weren't there. The pressure came. He had to scramble, picked up 2 yards. The second down, it was great defense, but a bad throw by Jones. It was a great defense, pretty bad throw. And on third down, a cover 0. They kept running the same defense in the red zone. Cover 0. They were blitzing Daniel Jones. He knew it was coming. You got to read the hot. You got to read hot right away. When there's a blitz like that, a cover 0 blitz, one of the inside receivers is the hot read. He has to know exactly who that is. He looked the wrong way, and then he floated it out to nobody, hoping his running back, almost turning the ball over. Actually, that was his only turnover-worthy play of the game. So I was very disappointed with the offensive performance was great. It was phenomenal, but I do have concerns in these big games. This is definitely a lighter and easier team, I feel like, than they've seen the past 2 weeks. So, but when the big games come, I'm going to be worried about Daniel Jones executing in the red zone and doing the little things that help teams win. And because you kind of missed some of that. So the defense, I still think there's a lot of question marks. Can we stop with Xavier Howard? He looks awful. I mean, he can't tackle. He cannot cover. You got to get him out of there. The linebackers have been amongst the worst in the league. What I want to see is when Ward comes back, put Blackman over in Xavier Howard's spot. Let Blackman develop as a young player. And then you put, play nickel. Take a linebacker out of the game and put Cross in the box and play the run. So I think this Colts team has a lot of upside, especially with this offense. I think it all fits. You got a coordinator that's able to pull it all together. And I bet the Colts. I know it's very public. I got a green light with the market history. I told you about the Bills Colts money line parlay, which I actually have 2 units on. But to get that reflected on the record appropriately, I added a game we'll talk about in a little bit. So I got Colts Bills money line minus 134. I got Colts Falcons money line, and I got that price at plus 130. And then I have Colts minus 3 for minus 130. I paid a price.
Okay, so Colts Falcons was at what?
Plus 130.
Plus 130, and then Colts minus 3 was minus 130.
Yep.
I just feel, and I can't get past it, that this is, a gambling story as old as time. The books put out a line on a team that's looked spectacular, that's too short. In my estimation, they're opening up their arms to, people who want the Colts. I mean, the Colts have looked spectacular, and you're getting them, under a field goal against a team that's lost 8 straight games dating back to last year with the rookie quarterback. And then the line moves in that direction. It doesn't stay still. It moves towards that team, so then, everybody getting in, beating the line move, getting more confident, steam chasers, seeing the line move, wanting to get in too. And by the end of it, you have 95% of the cash on that road team that's looked so spectacular at home for 2 weeks. And in baseball, I see it all the time. An opening line that doesn't make sense, that's fishy. Then the line moves in their favor, and that team loses.
Yeah.
And so X's and O's, you're absolutely right.
But not in this price range. You don't see it. The strong open of this market is 3.5. When you got 3.5 open and the line moves in your direction, it's only going to favor the road team. And then I'm playing around with this first 10 week stuff and the first 5 weeks because it's incredible. It's another spot where the dog is getting obliterated. I'm looking at a 19-4 sample. As long as we close, above 3, 19-4 ATS, not even on the money line, 23-4 on the money line, and a big trend to the under in the sample. I don't know. I know. I get it. Trust me, I get it. And that's I battle with myself every day because like sometimes I stay off of spots. I wanted to bet the over with you in the Chargers game last night, and I feel like you could make an argument that game could have got over a lot of different ways. That plus 3.5, those numbers, they just go under in this price range so often.
You have succeeded back-to-back years with a big ROI here on the show. This is year 3. You should trust your
last
numbers.
year, thank God for that. The future actually wasn't yet.
But you should trust your numbers. And
well, I took a bath in MLB. I mean, there was one point in this MLB season I was up 54 units, and the database I was up 50 units two consecutive years. I stopped the second year after 50 units, just being conservative, wanted the 50. NFL was here. And then this year, I mean, from 54 units, the second half of the season, I tanked 50 units. So, I'm up 4 units on the season. It's like, yeah, it's good, but nothing's foolproof. Like, I got to be better. That's why I talk about perception in this. I like to talk about this because it's important for me.
Yeah, I think from an X's and O standpoint, it makes so much sense. But from a market standpoint, if this had opened up at 3.5, I would find it more appealing. In fact, it opens up at 3, 95% of people on it. Then the line starts moving. I see this, but you're right. And you just cashed on a road team in a similar market. So I'll keep thinking about it and working on it. And Troy bullish on the Colts, -3, -130. Colts Falcons moneyline parlay +130, and Bills Colts at -134. Troy, we roll on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern. I can't wait to talk about this game. Cincinnati Bengals at Minnesota Vikings. There was a point today where I was like getting closer to betting the Vikings, and I stopped myself, and I could still start it up again, but I don't. On a 16-game card, when there's all these incredible, I think, opportunities to make money, this seems like a pretty volatile situation, with Jake Browning and Carson Wentz. I think at some point we look for predictability in sports capping, and is this a difficult thing to predict here? I think it is. I want to fade Browning badly, so badly. But then I have to trust Wentz. So now Skydragon says this is the easiest over on the board. Says, I upgraded Mini a 0.5 point on the move from McCarthy to Wentz. Now, Skydragon is a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He may look at Wentz a little bit differently than non-Philadelphia Eagle fans. Not saying that you're jaded. Skydragon. I always want to know what you're on. But you may find him a little more appealing than us. Let's get into the line history here. There's been a legit move to the Vikings. The Vikings are now a -3 and -105. The look ahead was -1.5. Then on Monday night, this came out as a 3.5. It dropped to 3, got back to 3.5, went down to 2.5, bouncing all over the place. Now we're at 3. So since this became available on the 15th here, it has moved a 0.5 point away from Minnesota, but it's still a big enough line, which I think is opening up their arms to Bengals bets. This is certainly one-way traffic for me. I either bet the Vikings or I don't bet the game. This total opened up at 40.
Oh, I'm super curious on that.
This opened up, the look ahead was 47.5. It dropped to 46.5. It came out on Monday morning at 43. Went all the way down to 41 before it came up to 42. I wonder if Dennis has nailed it with the over. I wonder if that is a really sharp angle here, which would probably go up against. I mean, I've hammered the over in Jacksonville, Houston, and it's not because I like what I see from Houston's offense. It's because I know that Jacksonville's defense can make bad teams look good. Guys like Jake Browning look good. When we get to the cash flow here, we have no information on the total at this point, but we know 89% of the tickets and 95% of the cash are on the Bengals. It's creating a situation where I have to bet Minnesota. That's what's starting to happen here. So Bengals coming off a wild 31-27 victory over the Jaguars. Saw them lose starting quarterback Joe Burrow to a turf toe injury that will require surgery. It's their first 2-0 start since 2018. Joe Burrow 7-13 for 76 yards, touchdown before getting knocked out of the game. Browning comes in and was 21-32 for 241 yards and 2 touchdowns. They scored. I talked about it already. Cincinnati scored on 4 of the 8 drives that he led. It was impressive. Jamar Chase caught 14 passes for 165 yards and a touchdown. Let me keep this moving here. It was a phenomenal game by Jamar Chase. I mean, he only 2 catches for 26 yards in last week's opener. Chase Brown ran 16 times for 47 yards, caught 2 passes for 18 yards. They were 3 of 4 in the red zone. The defense allowed the Jaguars to put up 400 yards of offense on them. And as always, Trey Hendrickson is the only member of this pass rush to menace, to wreak havoc. He finished with a sack and 3 quarterback hits. The rest of the team, 0 sacks and 1 quarterback hit. To make matters worse, Shamar Stewart, he left the game with an ankle injury. He's doubtful to play this week. Jordan Battle, Dak still had interceptions. They did hold the Jaguars to 3 of 6 in the red zone. Vikings coming off a horrific 22-6 loss at home to the Falcons. McCarthy was 11 of 21 for 158 yards, 2 interceptions. He sustained a high ankle sprain in the loss, expected to miss 2 to 4 weeks. And in comes Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz will become the first quarterback in NFL history to start for his 6th team in 6 seasons. Crazy. Last season, Wentz played in 3 games with the Chiefs, 12 of 19 for 118 yards. The Vikings had just 10 first downs all game. I think there's not, Dennis upgrading from McCarthy to Wentz. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Aaron Jones ran 5 times to 23 yards before he hurt his hamstring. He's unavailable this weekend. So we're going to see a heavy dose of Jordan Mason. Justin Jefferson caught 3 passes for 81 yards. The rest of the team caught 8 passes for 77 yards. They were just 0 for 1 in the red zone. The defense got diced on the ground. This is what I need you to touch on, Troy. They allowed the Falcons to rush for 218 yards. I thought in Flores we trust defensively. They stayed in the game because they held the Falcons to 1 of 5 in the red zone. The pass rush finished with 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. The Vikings are decimated with injuries. Ryan Kelly and Justin School go out. Ryan Kelly in the second quarter at the center. Left tackle Justin School in the third quarter, each with concussions. So School was starting in place for Christian Darrisaw. Harrison Smith was held out again. They were already missing cornerback Jeff Okudah and Andrew Van Ginkel. Then outside linebacker and their backup, who's in there because of the injuries, Gabe Murphy was hurt in the fourth quarter. He's got an MCL injury. He's not going to be in the lineup. So I guess what I'm saying is when the injury information comes out and everybody's aware of all this, this line's got to move towards the Bengals, doesn't it? This game is very difficult, Troy. Take it away.
Yeah, it is the most difficult. It's one of the spots that I was least interested in by far on this board. Both teams with the new starter in week 3. The Vikings offense was incapable under McCarthy. And then you look at the performance of the Bears with the Lions, and it becomes clear, I don't know what to expect from this Vikings defense. No Cashman has to be impacting this somehow. Ivan Pace Jr. might be finding his way to the bench, even though he's probably the only bright spot in the run defense because, Javon Hargrave's getting moved. He's getting out. He's getting his ass whooped consistently. Jonathan Allen, he's just falling off the charts. 23, 24, 25. He's posting one of the worst PFF grades in the NFL. This defensive line is not performing well. And then I want to give credit to the Bucs. I want to give credit now because I talk about the Bucs. How does that make any type of sense here? Is because the Vikings shut down the Bucs run game, and the Bucs shut down the Vikings, or the Bucs shut down the Falcons running game. So trying to balance the strength of schedules, mentally here. It's just a really tough spot. Carson Wentz, I don't know enough about him. I didn't want to dive too deep into him. The 3 is, I don't know what to expect. I feel like it's going to probably close 2.5 or 3, but it's going to probably be 2.75. So then it'll come down to a money line price for me. Is it above -140? Is it below -140? I lean Vikings. The only way I'm not betting the Bengals in the spot ever. So it's definitely a Vikings or pass situation for me.
What about the over? I mean, the Bengals defense is so bad that I understand. Is this also a gift? Yeah. Everybody's going to think that they're going to think Vikings scored 6 points with McCarthy. Wentz does not have 6 teams in 6 years.
Joe Burrow's out.
So this total dropped all the way down to, remember the look ahead was 47.5. Now I know that's very different, but this goes all the way down to 41, comes up to 42. Why do you think it came up to 42? I think that we know there were limits when this line came out. So it's not like cash moved it down. I think it was just, you can get yourself in trouble at times when you sort of get too cute or too sharp, but I agree with everybody in the chat. And I I imagine points will still be scored. So then the problem here, and I want you guys who are on Minnesota to answer this question. Who do you need in on the offensive line? Is Darisaw going to be in? Ryan Kelly, Justin School? I mean, who don't you need one or two of those guys on the offensive line to think that Wentz might have a second? Now, or you could say, look, all you have to do is double Hendrickson because nobody else on the pass rush can menace at all.
I can't write a script that doesn't show the Vikings scoring points with or without School or Darisaw, to be honest. I think the coach will be good enough. Wentz is a more than capable quarterback. I can see turnovers happening in this game, which is also favorable to unless they're happening in the red zone. But turnovers should lead to more points.
That's a good point. It could, but what do you think of what D. Jenkins saying? He says, can you trust Browning against Flores?
No.
So if you can't, then maybe it's just safer to only just take the Vikings.
I think it's safer to just take the Vikings. I do. Because I could see a game that's just grinded out. Like, I mean, if I was Browning, I mean, I guess how you got to use your I don't know. I don't know about the total. I do think that Browning's going to turn the ball over multiple times.
Well, I'm not going to bet this tonight. I kind of want to see public sentiment. I kind of want to hear what other people think. I'm loving what I'm hearing here. I'm like, it's only Vikings. It's one-way traffic for me. But I don't think I can just move on now. And I think that the over that Dennis Garcia, Skydragon, is talking about is a very interesting spot because it's not that far off of what I'm doing in the Jaguars game. So I'm interested in both spots here. And it was a fun cap. Let's roll on. 1 p.m. Eastern, Pittsburgh Steelers, 1-1, 1-0 on the road. The New England Patriots, 1-1, 0-1 at home. Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, 67 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. I would already be on the Patriots, Troy, if I didn't fear that I was buying them high and selling Pittsburgh low. I don't care about selling Pittsburgh low. I'll sell Pittsburgh all I want. I'm concerned about the Patriots buying them high here. And so I haven't bet it yet. I came quite close today. Queued. It was in the queue. I pulled it back. 67 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 8 miles per hour. Let's get into the line history. We'll start with the total here on this one. Steelers, Patriots. We have 44.5. It's climbing. And I understand. I mean, we talked ad nauseum last year about my feelings that the Steelers pass rush was way overrated. It's a vividness bias. I still feel that way. Now they have a quarterback in Rodgers who can sling it all over the place. I mean, not deep, and this total's gone up. The look ahead was 42.5, and it on, we're talking before the football game, it dropped to 41.5. And then Sunday night, it comes out at 43.5 and it's climbed up to 44.5. I mean, I get it. It's not the total that was appealing to me. It was just fading Rodgers and the Steelers. The Patriots right now are +1 at +1.5, at minus 105. They opened up at +1. That was a look ahead. Before the games were played on Saturday, it got to +2. Sunday night, when it comes out, it's a +1. Now it's +1.5. So it's moved a half point towards Pittsburgh since the games were played. Let's get to the cash flow here for this spot. We have 70% of the tickets and 89% of cash on the over. 83% of the tickets and 91% cash on Pittsburgh. God, I cannot wait. Please, I need to hear what you guys are doing in the chat on this one. Again, this is my I'll only have maybe 5 or 10% of action that will be bet after tonight. After we talk about these games, I'm going to add my bets, and then I'm pretty much done. So I really want to know what you guys think of this spot here. Steelers coming off an ugly 31-17 loss at home to the Seahawks. I was on the Seahawks. I should have cashed the under 2. But
I should have been on the Seahawks. God, yeah, I left that one on the table like a fool.
It was the similar thing too with the the way the market moved towards the Steelers is something that it was. And then again, what had they done? They beat the Jets, and we got as soon as 1 p.m. kicked off yesterday, we realized, oh shit, downgrade the Steelers.
Yeah, right.
The Steelers were outgained 395 to 267. So yes, the game changed drastically, when Caleb Johnson turned his back on a live ball. So, yes, but the Seahawks were the better football team. Aaron Rodgers was 18 of 33 for 203 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions, and he got absolutely nothing from his wideouts again. And that's going to happen all year. All year, he's going to get nothing from his wideouts. Jalen Warren led receivers with 4 catches for 86 yards. No one else had more than Pat Freiermuth's 3 catches for 31 yards. Get used to it. Jalen Warren also ran 14 times for 48 yards. Steelers were 5 of 15 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The defense allowed the Seahawks to put up 395 yards and go 2 of 3 in the red zone. Seattle outscored the Steelers 24-3 over the final 2 quarters. Pass rush doesn't seem to be as good as we remember. They did finish with 2 sacks and 8 quarterback hits. Herbig and Ramsey had interceptions. And Alex Highsmith left in the second quarter with an ankle injury and did not return. Also, Loudermilk was lost for the game in the first quarter with an ankle injury. They are both out this week. That's confirmed. These guys are out this week. So this defense gets way worse. Cornerback Joey Porter Jr., defensive tackle Derek Harmon, and safety Deshaun Elliott missed the game. They're listed as questionable to return this week. We'll get more information, especially when the Wednesday injury report comes out. Patriots coming off a 33-27 victory in Miami give Vrabel his first win as Patriots coach. Drake May, 19-23 for 230 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran 10 times for 31 yards and a touchdown. Ramondre Stevenson was a beast. He was terrible in week 1. He was a beast in week 2, ran 11 times, 54 yards, caught 5 passes for 88 yards. The offense went 8 of 13 on 3rd and 4th down, went 3 of 4 in the red zone. Now, yes, the Dolphins defense is trash, but, Antonio Gibson, have you heard him whine ever about being the 3rd string running back now? Not once. He's a team player.
He's the man.
He runs for 9. He returns that kickoff 90 yards to the house right after they allow one. The team players, man. The defense held the Dolphins to 4 of 12 on 3rd down and just 1 of 2 in the red zone. The pass rush got pressure on Tagovailoa. Now we could say the Dolphins offense line is horrific. Marte Mapu had an interception. Take it away for us here. And Gorky shocked says, how does a pro not learn a basic rule camp day 1? Take it away for us here, Troy Torrance. I want the Patriots, but I don't want to buy them high. Take it away. I'm all ears, and I'm going to be looking at all of the comments.
This is a very tricky spot, and it starts as a tricky cap for me because you start looking at the market. That's how I open up every single cap, and I always say I want to fade these teams +1, +1.5. But really, that's divisional markets that are extremely strong in favor of the home team. But what you dig a little bit deeper in the market, the fact that this is not a divisional game, because usually I want to fade the divisional games where the home dogs +1, +1.5, +2. But the fact that this market's moving to the over for whatever reason, that's extremely bullish for the short home dog. I don't know if it's just a blip on the radar, and the sample is only 20 games, and it's strongly in favor, 15-5 in favor of the home team, straight up in money line with a massive 83% trend to the under. A lot of these games, they tend to go under, these closely contested games, even though it seems like, it's funny that the average sample, there's some very polarized finishes here. Win by 18, win by 27, lose by 21, lose by 37. But at the end of the day, it comes down to the average result in this market is 1 point in favor of the road team. It's pretty crazy how that works.
Wow.
But I do think ultimately this market, as long as it closes below 2, does favor the Patriots. I think when you start getting to 2.5, I feel like it starts to you start to lose value, and that's crazy to say, right? Let's wait for a better number. That won't be me. I'm going to be looking for this to close under 2 if I want the Patriots, and I do want the Patriots. And I'm not sure what this offense really is at the moment after a matchup with the Raiders and the Dolphins. I feel like we need more information. The book is still out on the Raiders, and I can't wait to talk about them. And the Dolphins, that defense looks really bad, and they were able to put up, the handstand on business. But they have a bad offensive line. Right now, you can't put Drake May above an average quarterback. They're average at the skill position. I feel like McDaniels is an average play caller. Now, he did call a great game this past week, and way better with time, oh, man, I'm struggling with this because I don't know what to expect from this Patriots offense. I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball, and that's going to be a problem. And the defense, Birdie's hitting on the head. They need Christian Watson back, but my problem is, you want Christian Watson to –
Gonzalez, you mean?
Christian Watson. Christian Gonzalez. Jesus, it's like Gary Payton. You want Christian Gonzalez to play on an island. You want him to be in man coverage. Vrabel wants to play zone defense. I don't know how that's going to fit. Obviously, he's a great defender. He's going to be a massive improvement. But a Vrabel-led defense, I know it's year one. It's only the second week. But the tackling, right now, they're 29th in the NFL. Expected that to elevate under Vrabel because they were bad last year. The coverage was bad. It will help to get Gonzalez back. But the front, in the box, they're playing good. I feel like they're playing good against the run. But they did play two teams that struggle to run the ball. So take it for what it is. And when you flip it over to the other, and Drake May, some of his advanced metrics, I'm thinking about EPA per drop back and composite scores and stuff like that. He's league average right now. So that's why I say he's average. And Aaron Rodgers, PFF's got him graded 29. His advanced metrics are falling off a cliff since 2022. His ADOT's 32nd in the league, 5.8 yards per attempt, average depth of target. He's a check down merchant. His turnover-worthy play percentage is 4%. That's the highest of his career. You don't want to blitz him. It was a terrible scheme. Our guy on the Jets, Aaron Glenn, let us down massively in that, or let the Jets down massively in that game. They just continued to send the blitz. You can continue to kill him underneath. So you really want to press up on these receivers. You want to force Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball downfield. You want to force this offensive line to block. And they're not going to be able to run the ball. The Steelers will not be able to run the ball effectively this year. Until I'm proven differently, there's no reason we should expect this team to run the ball. And you hit it on the head with this defense. They just continue to regress, all the big names, and they're just not producing numbers. So my X's and O's put me on the Patriots. I think if this market closed below 2, I'll be on the Patriots. Basically, if we come Sunday and we're sitting below 2, I'll be on it. I'll have a green light. I'll be moving on the Patriots.
I think that my fear in buying the Patriots high could override my desperate need to fade the Steelers. I fade them in 2 weeks, and I'm 2-0 against them, and I don't want to stop. But I'm not betting this tonight. I'm going to sit with this for longer. Again, this is one-way traffic for the Patriots. I do agree with this big move towards the over. A lot of cappers in the chat talking about the over. Vincent Hawkins also liking the Patriots. Dougie Wise on the Steelers. A wager detective on the Patriots. We have cappers back and forth. Birdie says, I only look Steelers here if Gonzalez does not play. That is significant. Right now, this Pats D is more bottom half. This is a Pittsburgh spot. He says, I suspect we see all week is Patriots. He's on the over, Pittsburgh and the over. Do you agree with this move towards the over? Vincent Hawkins says over.
No. These short home dogs, these games just don't go over. And even if you toggle to the market that's bullish on the over, home dogs +1, +1.5 with the market moving towards the over, 19-4 to the under. So even if my X's and O's were telling me that this game would go over, which it does, there's no doubt about it, because both teams can't run the football. Both run defenses are fairly stout, and it's going to lead to a lot of passing, stops, clocks, and probably points. That's what you'd think.
Vitalis says you will be 3-0 when you fade him this week. Let the Pats hate creep up to +2 or +2.5 and jump on the Pats. Okay, I'm not moving on this tonight. I need more time with this. My biggest fear is buying high. Let's roll on. I should have already moved on this one. This Rams Eagles game. It felt like the Browns spot moving from 8.5 to 7.5. It could be a 3 by now. I'm afraid to look. I know the 3.5s were getting juiced, and everyone knows how high I am on the Rams. You can still get a 3.5, but it's juiced -115 or -120. The look ahead was 4.5, but even the look ahead moved to 3.5 and then back up to 4, up to 4.5 again. So even the look ahead had a lot of movement. This came out Sunday night at 4.
Oh, it did come out at 4?
Yeah, came out Sunday night at 4. Moved to 3.5 Monday morning. So, and this was a flat 4 on Sunday night as well. Pick 'em. So, also, this did move to a more legitimate 3 at 11:30 this morning. This +3, I didn't know this. God, I really didn't know this. This 3 was -102. Since then, Philly -3 at -118 has moved to -123. I don't know why I've been hesitant. I guess you're overloaded with information as you're prepping for these games. And I think this total is a 44.5. The look ahead was 45 on Sunday. It came out at 44.5 and it got up to 45.5. Now it's 44.5. Both of these teams I want unders on. I don't think we should pay any attention to that first half against Dallas or even the second half. I think we should just not pay attention to that football game. I think the game against the Chiefs is a better example of what we're getting from the Philadelphia Eagles. My dude in the house. Great to see you. Vincent Hawkins says Philly covers, and I'm a Rams fan. Sky Dragon says it's so cute how many people love the Rams here. Did anyone watch the games last year? Philly O-line dominates. Rams will wear down. The 74 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 6 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the cash flow. We've talked about the line movement. Cash flow. I can't wait for this football game. 57% of tickets, 63% of cash is on the Rams. That does concern me a little bit. 50% of the tickets are on the under 50 and 61% of the cash on the under. I think the under has to be bet, must be bet. First half, full game. I'm not sure why I don't have it in my pocket already. The Rams coming off a 33-19 road victory at Tennessee. They outgained the Titans 439 to 252. It's dominant. Stafford was 23 of 33 for 298 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. Devontae Adams caught 6 passes for 106 yards and a touchdown. Puka Nacua caught 8 passes for 91 yards. He also had 1 carry for a 45-yard touchdown. What a beast. Kyron Williams had 17 carries for 66 yards while catching 2 for 14. Rams were just 3 of 6 in the red zone. Pass rush again looked very strong. 5 sacks, 8 quarterback hits, held the Titans to 6 of 15 on third down, just 1 of 3 in the red zone. And they were playing without a couple of important offensive players. Starting left guard Steve Avila out. Tight end Colby Parkinson out. Sean McVay has told us that Avila is week to week. He told us yesterday he's not playing. And it is possible that Parkinson plays. McVay also said that cornerback Akilo Witherspoon broke a clavicle. That's why he left early in the second quarter. Also, Braden Fisk didn't play. He injured his oblique in warm-ups, was unavailable. He's listed as questionable. These are very important pieces that I need to know about. Well, we do. We know that Avila is not coming back to help the offensive line. Akilo Witherspoon is not going to be there. And we need to know how bad this injury is on Braden. The Eagles come in off a 2017 victory at Kansas City in a Super Bowl rematch. It was I thought, just an alarmingly easy bet. They've won 7 straight. They improved to 17-1 in their last 18 games. There's no team that's made more money for us in sports than the Eagles have over the last calendar year. Thank you to the Philadelphia Eagles. It was the 11th time a Super Bowl rematch has taken place in the regular season. Remember in our video that we broke down on Sauce Network, there's no zigzag. 8 times the Super Bowl champ has beaten the team again. Only 3 times they've lost to them.
Interesting.
The Chiefs outgained the Eagles 294 to 216. I'm loving the no zigzag stuff. I'm loving it. It's getting me high. I love the, because you get so ingrained in the zigzag. I love no zigzag. The Chiefs though outgained the Eagles 294 to 216. Look, there's a problem with this Eagles offense, but who cares? Because it'll just pay us out over and over and over again on unders. So it doesn't bother me from a gambling perspective. Hurts was 15 of 22 for 101 yards. That's it. Devonta Smith led receivers with 4 catches for 53 yards. The Eagles only had 4 passing first downs in the game. Saquon Barkley ran 22 times for 88 yards and a touchdown. They were 5 of 14 on third down, perfect 2 of 2 in the red zone. The defense held the Chiefs to 4 of 12 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush was strong, 2 sacks, maybe 2 sacks, but 10 quarterback hits. This is we know this is the best football team in the NFL, and the toughest test they received last year was from the LA Rams. But the Rams have some injuries, and going over the injuries again, I'm kind of happy now that I haven't moved on it yet. We have AM saying the early season wanderer, week 1 to 9, a road team, Pacific time zone, a home team with an Eastern time zone. Bet the road team on the spread here. Sky Dragon says Eagles run simple offense. You can't stop it. Simplicity, the ultimate sophistication. It's beautiful. Da Vinci quote. Take it away for us, Troy Torrence. This is the game of the week, baby.
I was thinking that if this gets down to 3, I'm going to start getting pretty interested in the Eagles. And that's just because of market history. When you see these, and I feel like these are 2 heavyweight teams go toe-to-toe. I mean, this is a divisional line where you could comfortably take the road team in this market moving towards them. But for me, I see value in the 3 just because of the market history. I'm seeing 63% ATS sample, 72% on the money line, 30+ games. I kind of like what I'm seeing. And if you dig into that sample a little bit more, you try to look at corollary spots, find the Ravens versus Dolphins, 56-19, the 49ers versus Cowboys, 42-10. A Ravens versus Dolphins again back in 2022 when the Dolphins were being priced competitively in the market, 42-38. I expect to see 3s, which is really concerning. I wanted to be on the Rams in this spot. I look at this game, I look at how these 2 teams have performed, and I wanted to be on the Rams, but then I started to dig into it after I seen this market, which kind of started flipping my sentiment back towards the Eagles. And I feel like these 2 teams, like I said, are Super Bowl caliber. Both teams have quality defenses, and they're elite in the trenches defensively. But can the Eagles tackles neutralize them? We're talking about Mulata and Johnson, Lane Johnson, who's not playing that great right now, but obviously he has Super Bowl talent. So that's the main matchup. Are we going to be able to neutralize those edge defenders? And how much are they really going to be involved in this game if the Eagles are just going to go ground and pound? We've seen them wear this Rams team down last year. Yes, it was a very close game, and they did give them – it was definitely the best opponent that they played. And the Eagles are a team, I feel like they're built in a way where they might allow a team, a quarterback and McVay, to hang around and give the Rams a chance to win the game late. We've seen it last year in the postseason. I feel like it could easily happen again. But the Rams, there was inclement weather in that game. If you remember, there was massive weather problems going on in that game. So the Rams, Eagles had the lead. The Rams just pushed everybody into the box. They were playing with 9 in the box. So it made the Eagles' offensive production fell off the cliff in the second half because they were playing with the lead. It was snowing inches on the ground. It was a crazy game. What a game that was. And my heart was racing the entire time, obviously, because I was heavy on the Eagles. But if it gets to a 3, I feel like the Rams have a huge coaching quarterback advantage, the tandem. I really believe, I'm a high believer, more so than most people. I'm higher than the market on Jalen Hurts just because I know he knows what it takes to win. But I just have to – I feel like at 3, there's only one way ticket for me, and it would be on the Eagles.
What this is just came to my head right now, and I had not thought about this at all in the cap, but McVay tore his plantar fascia in the Titans game.
Really?
Yeah. So he's got a serious foot injury, suffers severe foot injury. How do you do? How is that going to affect him coaching this game at all? Should I have no concern about that?
I mean, he is pretty animated. He's up and down the sideline. He's active. I feel like it could. It's really hard to quantify.
Yeah, it just jumped in my head that last second.
But yeah, fasciitis, every step you take you're gonna have pain shooting up your calf.
Yeah,
so it's not fun.
No. Yeah, so McVay, way detective.
Yes.
So And Gorky saying he'll be on a trolley. Sky Dragon says, by the way, he likes the over. He says he's convinced the Eagles score in the second half and that Stafford can somewhat keep up. It's really beautiful conditions. 74 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 6-mile-per-hour winds.
I'm seeing over as the right side to be on in this game as well.
Really?
I think 44 is kind of telling. Even I know the X's and O's would tell me all under, but if I think the Eagles are going to be winning the game, the market history would sign off on the over. Then McVay and Stafford are going to have to drop back and pass.
And no
go to milk.
No Witherspoon and no Fiske. I mean, Braden Fiske. I need to know. I guess this is just crucial stuff.
I am actually starting to get a little bit interested in the over. Does the over sound appealing to you, Jimmy? I know, because trust me, I came in, I was like Rams and under. Let's go get it. The market drops from 45 to 44.
I think that I'm thankful now that I didn't come in with these bets placed. I'm okay with that now. I'm going to sit with this for longer.
Oof.
I want to study this longer. Shout out to sports scientist Jacob in the house. AM says just a Rams bet for him here. He would lean over too, says the Eagles defense is bad. You really think the Eagles defense is bad? I don't. I don't at all. I think they're as complete as a team can be. I mean, their pass rush is not, the record-breaking pass rush of 2022, but all right. That's a fun cap. So it's one-way traffic though. I really like the Rams in this spot, and I want to just make sure that I'm comfortable regardless of where the market goes. I mean, also the Eagles I
don't feel comfortable, Jim, taking the Eagles. I haven't yet. There's 3. I could have gotten some 3s today. I don't know if you moved on the 3.5, if I would have the balls to go up against you, unless we start dipping down to 2.5, then I would probably consider.
But this is a different spot. This isn't. I can't help but have my futures on the Rams, in my head. They're a team that I believed in the offseason and wanted to be invested in this year, and so. And Alec Dirk says, don't doubt the birds. Dougie Weiss says, Eagles have no edge rushers. AM says, A.J. Brown is still hurt. Wage Detective says that Rams plus 3.5 is solid. Sports Scientist Jacob says this is a dead under game for him. So we'll be working on this game throughout the week. It's the game of the week, man.
Why is it on at 1 p.m.?
I know it shouldn't be, but let's roll on. 1 p.m. Eastern, New York Jets on the road for the first time this year, 0-2 this year, at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are in Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, for the first time this year. What a great start to the season for the Buccaneers. Their offense without Liam Cohen doesn't look as dangerous or as creative, but pretty fun seeing Bowles as a defensive coordinator. Just pretty fun watching Baker Mayfield play quarterback. Guy's just a gamer. If you are a Buccaneers fan, you are pretty fortunate.
Where's Ian at? Where's old E in the chat? Right there.
He was riding high off of that game, as many Bucs fans were.
I was crying tears.
I was very sad. This was a gift from our friend Topset. Elio got me old buck knife. Let's roll here. New York Jets coming off just a terrible performance, getting dominated by the Buffalo Bills 30-10. Let's take a look at the line history here. We have a total at 44 flat. The look ahead was 44.5. It opened up this morning. Didn't open up until this morning at 45. So it's dropped a full point in 12 hours, 13 hours. From a point spread scenario here, we have the Buccaneers minus 6.5. Minus 107. They opened up minus 5.5. Oh, sorry. The look ahead was 5.5. Then when this first came available, really it was Sunday night at 9:37 p.m. at a 7. The 7 has dropped down to 6.5. It did drop down to 6. So again, if you look at the look ahead, it's moved towards the Buccaneers. If you look at it from when it was released on Sunday, it's moved towards the Jets. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for this one. We have 51% of the tickets and 61% of the cash on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 50% of the tickets on the over, 74% of cash on the under. Dougie Wise looking at the Jets here. Sports scientist Jacob says no Justin Fields. That's not being confirmed, I believe. We expect it because he's dealing with the concussion, but I didn't have that confirmed yet. But if you do, let us know. The Jets were horrible. They were outgained 403 to 154. Fields was 3 for 11 for 27 yards, and then he left with the concussion in the fourth quarter. He had run 5 times for 49 yards. He fumbled twice. He lost one of them. Garrett Wilson led receivers with 4 catches for 50 yards. He was the only receiver in double digits. I already talked about the Jets being 0 for 11 on third down. They only had the ball for 21 minutes and 39 seconds of the game. Jets finished with 154 total yards, the fewest allowed by the Bills in a road game since giving up since giving up 127 to Indianapolis in 1990. Unbelievable. I mean, they were just as horrific as you could possibly imagine. They in the first half, the Bills outgained the Jets 247 to 78. Fields was 2 of 8 passing for 25 yards. That's the first time they limited an opponent to 2 completions in the opening 2 quarters since they did that to the Patriots in 2021. Pass rush was nowhere to be found. 1 sack, 2 quarterback hits. The defense did hold the Bills to 5 of 14 on third down and 2 of 4 in the red zone. Jermaine Johnson, edge rusher, left in the second quarter with an ankle injury. Tony Adams, their safety, injured his groin in the first half. And Michael Carter hurt his shoulder in the third quarter. They're all listed as questionable at this point. The Buccaneers are on a short week after a very impressive come-from-behind 2019 victory at Houston on Monday night. Sky Dragon says if Taylor starts, this is an easy under. I think that's a well put. If this is Tyrod Taylor, I mean, is he as predictable as any quarterback can be? The Bucs outgained the Texans 360 to 266, so maybe it was deserved. Baker Mayfield was 25 of 38 for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also ran 3 times for 33 yards. So Mayfield. So in the first game of the year, he threw a winning touchdown pass to Egbuka with 59 seconds left to give his team a 23-20 win over Atlanta. So he joins Doug Williams in 1980 as the only Tampa Bay quarterbacks to open up a season with 2 consecutive game-winning drives. Mike Evans caught 5 for 56. Bucky Irving exploded. He had a tough first week. 17 carries for 71 yards, caught 6 passes for 50 yards. Rashad White ran 10 times for 65 yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball 30 times for 169 yards, 2 of 3 in the red zone. The defense was strong throughout. Now, the Texans offense might be just bad, but they held the Texans to just 12 first downs, to 2 of 9 on third down, to 0 of 2 in the red zone. Pass rush finished with 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits. Star tackle Tristan Wirfs unable to make his season debut. They lose Luke Gadecki in the first quarter with a foot injury. Gadecki was on crutches in the locker room. Kalijah Kancey, he injured a pectoral muscle in the first half, didn't return, undergoing season-ending surgery Friday. It is a torn pectoral muscle. These are some real issues on the injury front. Are the Jets live here? Is this a letdown spot? Is this a sell the Bucs high spot? Is this a buy the Jets low spot? Troy Torrence, take it away.
I'm leaning towards this, not leaning. I've already moved on the side of that. This is a sell the Bucs high spot. And it's tough. It's tough too after what just happened to me with the Texans and watching Baker Mayfield just will his team. The epitome of a gamer. He will put it all on the line to get the W, and he ain't scared of shit. And I guarantee you, if you query every player in the NFL, who's the quarterback they want to lead their team, I bet you Baker Mayfield's got to be up there. I bet he's got to be the type of quarterback that a team would rally behind. No doubt about it. But he has had some numbers. I mean, he is the worst CPOE he's had in his entire career at minus 10.4%. His turnover worthy plays 4th in the league behind Tua, behind Bo Nix, and behind Fields. And the worst PFF grade he's posted since being in Carolina. He escaped the pocket twice. They look good early. The Bucs offense looked great early, but especially Bucky Irving was absolutely incredible from first snap to the last snap. He was probably the most impressive running back I've seen all season. I think he is the best running back in the game right now. That's how impressive he is to me. Wow. His ability to just bounce off of tackles, to be patient in the hole, and then to explode through it, to explode through contact, and to have get away from the cop speed. Bucky Irving, okay, super impressive. But I do think that this offense, especially without these weapons like Godwin and McMillan, that's a problem. And, we talked about Bucky. The offensive line does not look good. Now, you got to take it for what it is. The Falcons' defensive line has looked pretty damn good this season. They're young, and they're looking good. And obviously, the edge defenders on the Texans are no joke. So the offensive line hasn't looked good. But with Wirfs back, it's going to help the equation out a little bit. But the big thing about this Bucs team that I see that I like, and I don't know why, I'm starting to regret. I'm starting to look back like, why was I trying to sell Bowles and sell this defense? They have a lot of points from time to time, but dude, the scheme he put together on 2nd and 3rd down with like moderate yards, so 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, between 5 and 10, like it was impressive what he was doing. He completely confused Stroud, completely confused this offensive line. Levante David on that delayed blitz, right? They showed the double mug with bringing the 2 linebackers into the A gaps or into the B gaps. Then they drop or they come on the blitz. He would take a little step back, sell that he's dropping, and come through untouched. That happened multiple times. The delayed blitz, like Bowles, he has a scheme. So sometimes it won't work, and he's playing very volatile defense when he's sending the blitz. And but there's definitely ways you could take advantage of it, especially short in the short field. You just got to throw the ball to a spot because these linebackers are going to be getting out of that double mug. You could throw it underneath them all day. So there's ways you could beat it. Very depressing that Stroud couldn't beat it in that game, but they didn't really design a great plan for him to beat it, to be honest. So the Bucs, I was really impressed with, and the Jets offense. I mean, we've seen how sensitive this offense can be. A couple of flags stall the drive, and then they start to spiral because they fall behind. They don't have the wherewithal, the roster, the personnel to come back and to post a comeback. And the Jets defense, I think they had a terrible scheme versus Rodgers. I kind of want to throw that game out. Aaron Glenn got that one wrong. I think the game script, just falling behind, just played out terribly for when they're playing up against the Bills. And all their stars are starting to show out. Sauce Gardner's posting the 1st overall grade in the cornerback position. He's an island boy. Quinnen Williams 5th overall, blowing up runs in between the B gaps. And they really need Quincy Williams and Sherwood to return to form in the linebackers, in the linebacker room. But I moved on the Jets. I bet the Jets +7, -102. I got a great number. I think that this number starts to drop too low, and I will start to consider a middle.
Who do you want at quarterback for the Jets?
I want Justin Fields because, I mean, he'd bring the upside to really maybe even turn this into an upset instead of just a cover. I think he has that type of capability. He's played well in Tampa Bay before. But Tyrod Taylor, if I want to hit those short passes, if I want him to beat the blitz and beat the double mug look, the wide 9 double mug, I feel like I would trust Tyrod Taylor in that situation. So it can go both ways. And
the latest word out of the Buccaneers camp is Wirfs be back week 5. Tristan Wirfs is not going to be in the lineup tonight or this week. All right, let's roll on. It's one-way traffic for me on the Jets. I just don't know if I can press the button. I don't know if I can. I'm there, and I love the Sky Dragon angle. If Tyrod Taylor is announced in, bet the under immediately. So I've got that listed here as well. I do think that this is very likely a wonderful sell high, buy low spot that you're on. I just don't know if I have the balls to do it. But Dougie Wise moving on the Jets +7. JM laughing, saying getting in the way of Tampa again. Hey,
pulled it out of their ass last game, and in week 1, I'm gonna keep stepping in the way. The Bucs, I feel like, are a team that's going to play to their competition too. If they're playing a great team, they're going to level up. If they're playing a bad team, they're going to level down. I think about all those scraps that they've had with the Panthers in the past 2 years.
Nutflush says, how did the Jets not get to 20 points? Well, Tyrod Taylor would be their quarterback. And then, they would score, 3 field goals, and they might get a touchdown. But I like where you guys are at. I respect it. Let's roll on here. Next up for us, we head to Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. Las Vegas.
This is one I can't wait to talk out, to be honest, because I'm looking for a side in this game.
Yes, it's a fun capping breakdown because it's a very low spot for the Raiders, but it's a very tricky spot to back them as well. You know, they're on a short week and they're flying across the continent. There's a lot of moving parts here. 74 Fahrenheit. At this point, we have light rain listed. Keep an eye on it. Could be nothing. We have light rain listed, 6 mile per hour winds. Let's get into the line history here and the cash flow. Line history wise, we have the Washington Commanders as 3.5 point favorites. Opened up at 6.5, dropped to 6, 6.5, 6. Then we had 5.5, and then of course the Jaden Daniels knee injury news drops this to 3. Washington money comes in at 3.5 right now. So let's take a look at this total from a total standpoint. And I know that Jaden Daniels is the elephant in the room at this point, whether he will be in the lineup, but this look ahead was 47.5. This came out on Sunday night at 47.5. This was a 47.5 on Monday. And then this morning, or I guess it was a Monday at 3 p.m. when the news came out that Jaden Daniels had suffered a knee injury and it dropped to 44.5. Now it's at 44. Man Bear Pig says Raiders without Daniels here. Like Luke Bro says, seems like an unders game, no Daniels. Again, well, let's break this down. Here comes the Raiders on a short week after an extremely ugly 29 loss at home to the Chargers on Monday night. Geno Smith, 24, 43, 180 yards, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He also ran 5 times for 20 yards. You know, all of the people who told us we were nuts for fading Geno Smith indoors, you know, obviously, won't be back in the chat to apologize. I'll just
they'll be forgotten.
Happened. Raiders had 218 yards of offense. Jacoby Myers led receivers with 6 catches for 68 yards. Brock Bowers said he wasn't affected by the knee injury he suffered in week 1, but he was held to 5 catches for 38 yards. You know, shout out to Rod Zawacki, gave out Brock Bowers under receiving yards as his 20-star play of the day on our live stream. Cashed very easily. Ashton Genty at 11 carries for 43 yards. He looks good, but he's just, maybe he's got to be a bell cow. Maybe you got to give him 17, 18 carries. The Raiders defense was strong, kept them in the game. I've heard a lot of negativity about what Genty's looked like. I think he looks good out there. He's just not getting a lot of run. They held the Chargers to 4 of 11 on third down. And Jonah Lalu was the only Raider to record a sack. But Max Crosby forced the fourth quarter turnover that gave the Raiders a chance late. He stepped up in the biggest moment of the game despite, 0 sacks. It's pretty easy to double him, and the pass rush suffers. The Commanders come in off an ugly 27-18 loss at Green Bay. Jaden Daniels was 24-42 for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran 17 times for 17 yards. So I got day-to-day with a knee injury. I mean, am I wrong? Is everybody expecting him? Is he just confirmed to be out?
Who, Jaden?
Yeah, because I just have him as day-to-day with a knee injury.
They might. If I was a coach, I'd be trying to talk him into sitting this game. If I was in the front office, I'd be trying. But Jaden Daniels is not the type of guy that's going to want to sit out. If it's up to Jaden Daniels, he's playing football.
So AM says nobody knows yet. They did an MRI. Okay, because I didn't come in here thinking, he was out for sure. The market at 44 or the 3-point move away from the Commanders tells us that he is out. DG says he'll play. I came into this thinking that they have extra rest, that he will be able to go. They were outgained 404 to 230, 11 yards of offense in the first quarter. Didn't score a touchdown until the fourth quarter. Of course, I'm not proud that I told everybody that Eckler would get hurt and he tore his Achilles. I mean, that's sad and it sucks. And I feel for him and he's a good guy and it sucks. that he can't stay healthy. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt is going to have to take on a much bigger role with the injury. Krosky-Merritt only ran 4 times for 17 yards. Remember, Brian Robinson Jr. was traded before the season started. Krosky-Merritt's got to step up and be the man. Zach Ertz led receivers with 6 catches for 60 yards, 4 yards and a touchdown. Scary Terry caught 5 for 48. Debo caught 7 for 44 and a touchdown. The Commanders were just 6 of 19 on 3rd down and 4th down. They only made it to the red zone 1 time. The pass rush was non-existent. Well, they ended up with 2 sacks and 4 quarterback hits, but I didn't see it happening. And to make matters worse, Deatrick Wise Jr. carted off the field with a quad injury. He's being placed on IR. The Packers were 3 for 4 in the red zone. The red zone defense from the Commanders looked very weak. You had tight end John Bates and wide receiver Noah Brown both leave with groin injuries. Bates has been ruled out for the week. Noah Brown's listed as questionable. And then cornerback Jonathan Jones hurt his hamstring. He's listed as questionable. Take it away for us here, Troy, Torrance, Raiders, Commanders.
I am shocked at what I'm hearing in the chat. People are saying, like, oh, this is a hammer the Commander spot. Jane Daniels or not. Like, give me Mariota. I like the Commanders even more. I just don't understand that at all. I believe Jane Daniels is the Washington Commanders. They would be terrible without him. Terrible. The offensive line is not good. They have some good weapons around him. Not a great running back. There's no running game. Now, Mariota will bring some dynamic to that. I think Mariota is a good backup to have in this type of system, but he is nowhere even near the elevation that Jay Daniels gives this team. Not even close. I just can't believe that. Watching Jay Daniels against the Packers, I feel like he was handicapped because he didn't know what was about to hit him with the complex coverages that Hafley was throwing out there. I talked about it, the late rotations, the inverted zones, and a hell of a pass rush. Parlay that with stunts. They were baiting Jay Daniels. If they wanted him to roll right, they would bring the heat off the left side, bring a stunt that would be the contained player on the opposite side of the field. It was brilliant. Then they would have a spy step up in the middle. Jay Daniels ran into a buzzsaw. So I don't want to take too much away from that performance versus the Packers because the Raiders and the Packers are not the same. I totally get that, but they still they're going to struggle to run the ball. If Jane Daniels is out and you're getting a 3.5 with the Raiders, that's a damn gift. That would almost spook me at that point. I would rather actually see this line start ticking back towards the Commanders and take a bigger number, take a 4.5, something like that, or take it back. Yeah, right. Take the 4.5 with the Raiders. So the Commanders defense, you guys know my sentiment towards this team. The worst secondary in the league. Lattimore's washed. Sanders he's just not working out. You got Javon Kinlaw and Wagner, the only 2 quality players, like Eddie Goldman, I guess, on 3rd and short, 4th and short type of situations. The Commanders are very easy to scheme for, too. I seen somebody breaking down film on Twitter where he was just posting the same exact coverage that they ran in the red zone in week 1 versus the Giants. They ran it week 2 versus the Packers. Both of them resulted in touchdowns. It was the same exact personnel, same exact setup. One of them was a 12 personnel, double tight, 1 receiver to the left, wide open corner route, and Tucker Kraft. I just don't know about this Commanders defense. If Jane Daniels is out and you're getting a 3.5, it'd be. I don't know what I would do at that time. I want to take the Raiders in this situation. I struggle with Geno Smith. I am not as high on him as most people are. And he's going to struggle with defenses like Harbaugh. Great scheme forced him to where he was not comfortable outside of the numbers. You take away the middle of the field from Geno Smith, he's going to try to force some things into traffic, and we've seen that. The offensive line, which I was hopeful for, I projected upside, is looking like a league average unit, not really that good, can't really generate a lot of running lanes. I think the offense is going to be good. It's going to operate well versus bad defenses, and it's going to flounder versus good defenses. And the defense, they lack scheme. I do want to rewatch film. There was really no complexity that I seen watching it last night. I haven't rewatched it yet, but they did. They brought in a ton of veterans, and that helped them immensely. They went from one of the bottom 5 tackling teams multiple years in a row, currently number 1 in 2025. This Raiders defense, not a lot of upside. I mean, we know who these guys are playing for the Raiders defense. They're long, they're tenured guys. So you will have, Crosby, who's really good. You're going to have a bunch of veterans who could tackle, but there's really not a lot of upside. I think the defenses are kind of a wash. I think the Raiders offense kind of washes out as well. I still expect the Commanders to regress this season, And when the public leaves them for dead after they lose this game, I'll come swooping in. I want the Raiders +4 or better.
So basically, you want the Raiders whether or not Daniels is in or not. If Daniels is announced in, you get a bigger line. If Daniels is not in, you fade Mariota.
Yeah, so let's speculate on this line. What do we think it is with Jane Daniels in?
I think it goes back up to 5 and is bet down to 4. What do you think?
So yeah, that makes sense. I don't think it's going to get to 6.
No.
And if it gets to 6, then I'll have to rethink. But
there's no way it goes to 6.5 if people think that he's not going to be able to move fluidly out of the pocket and run. There's no way it goes back to 6. 6 is gone, even if he comes back, I believe.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking for a 4.5 on the Raiders. So I'm going to mark that down along with the Patriots.
And Jacob says it was 6.5. Yes, it was 6.5 before the knee injury news, which it's never coming back, even if he's healthy, But sorry, keep going, Troy.
No, I'm good. I got it all out there.
Well, I'm with you. I'm right with you. And great job, Jacob, snagging that 6.5.
Yeah, he's got the 6.5.
That's a thing of beauty. No, I'm with you guys. This is a buy low Raider spot. I'm on the under 9.5 wins for the Commanders. We don't believe in them anyways.
I am as well.
So this is fine. If Jaden Daniels is announced out and it's a 3 against Mariota, perfect. And if Jaden Daniels is in and this gets up to a 5 or 4.5, which is, and I could be wrong, obviously, but if that happens, then we'll bet it again, or bet it not again, bet it then. So I'm with you guys. We wait and see here, and also the sports scientist on that team total under. Well, you got it at a perfect spot. I think that again, that can be bet both. Yeah, I know. Coin, you were all over that one. You got the best line of all of us on the under 9.5 wins. But we could also move on the Washington team total under. I think that's appealing with both quarterbacks in, but it'd be more appealing at a higher number with Daniels in. But maybe that's wrong. Maybe it'd be more appealing at a lower number with Mariota. I'm with you. I do not believe in Mariota at all. I mean, he's a fine backup.
Yeah, right. He's a quality backup.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, he's not going to bring anywhere near what Jay Daniels brings.
No, I'm with you. All right, I love the breakdown. That was fun. So I know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to wait because I don't think it'll hurt if. I mean, it's not going to. If Mariota is announced in, it's not going to go down to 2.5, right? Or do you think it could?
I think it could. But at that point, I would not. I probably wouldn't want it. I feel like if Mariota's in, I'm probably not going to be on this game. And
why is that?
Just because I'm not going to love the market anymore. I don't want to see this at 3, 2.5. I was talking about what happens in that market with the Eagles game. Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to. It's a different situation because it's an injured quarterback. It's not getting bet through that key number because of action and bookies concern. It's just an automatic move because of a quarterback substitution. I think it goes below 3 if Mariota's in.
No, I feel you. This is a great buy low opportunity on a Raiders team. I'm not high on it at all. But it's a great buy low opportunity. Again, Commanders team I want to sell so badly. Unfortunately, we can't sell them high, and we're not going to be able to sell the Commanders high all year.
Well, in theory, you would have extreme confidence, but historically, that hasn't been the case. It hasn't.
Let's roll on. Next up for us, we head to Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Falcons 1-1, 1-0 on the road. The Carolina Panthers 0-2, and their home opener here, 78 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 8-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here for Carolina Atlanta. We'll start with the total. It's 43.5 at a pick'em. The look ahead was 44.5. It came out on Monday morning at 44. It went down to 43.5, back to 44, down to 43.5. So that is the total from a point spread scenario. Here we have, here we go. Sorry about that. From a point spread scenario, we have a 6. Carolina is +6. The look ahead was 2.5. This came out at 3.5. yesterday morning and ballooned. Atlanta just took heavy cash all the way up to 6. We have Leon in the chat, says Panthers plus the points in the home opener. AM says Carolina has a lot of injuries. Blue Chase Foxes, Falcons, the best bet of the week in the NFL. Sky Dragon, dog, and under. Neither team can score. So Falcons come in. Oh, let's take a look at the cash flow then for Atlanta, Carolina as well. We have 86% of the tickets on Atlanta, 75% of the cash on them, 80% of tickets on the over, and 91% of cash on that over. Falcons coming off an impressive 22-6 win at Minnesota. They ran the ball down the Vikings' throats. Penix didn't turn the ball over again. Their defense suffocated J.J. McCarthy, and they got an easy win. They outgained the Vikings 326 to 198. Penix was 13 of 21 for 135 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Interesting that Vincent Hawkins is so heavy on, or such a believer in the over here. I'm surprised. With Carolina, with them at home, it's just not a angle. You take the Falcons and you get them outside. I'm surprised, interested that you are on that. I would lean towards the under, but I'm listening and copying and pasting action from you guys in the chat. So let us know what you're on. Sports Scientist Jacob says first half under for the Panthers. They're a good second half team. They struggle out of the start. So we have Bijan Robinson, 22 carries for 143 yards. Tyler Algier ran 16 times for 176 yards in the touchdown. Drake London led receivers with 3 catches for 49 yards. The offense struggled in the red zone. They were 1 of 5 in the red zone. And that's Penix. And Penix will get better there. But they were just 6 of 15 on third down. But the defense completely shut the Vikings down, held the Vikings to 10 first downs. The pass rush was excellent. 6 sacks and 11 quarterback hits. Who was doing it? Why is the Falcons defense different this year? And it's because of the draft. They succeeded in the draft. Jalen Walker and James Pierce, 2 first-round draft picks. They were part of the pass rush. They each had sacks. Who got the interceptions? Xavier Watts and Billy Bowman. They say to Young Hoku, you're not doing the job. They bring in Parker Romo, signed him to the practice squad on Wednesday. He goes 5 for 5. It's impressive. Now, A.J. Terrell limped off with a left hamstring injury in the second quarter, but he's listed as questionable at this point. Yes, Luke Burrow, we're going to talk about these injuries on the Panthers offensive line because they're an issue. Panthers coming off a 27-22 loss at Arizona. Arizona built a 27-3 lead with 9:23 left in the third quarter and almost gave it all away because Bryce Young keeps coming at you. I respect the kid. I respect the kid's character too. It was an impressive comeback. Panthers had 10 more first downs than the Cardinals. They outgained the Cardinals 352 to 293. Bryce Young threw 55 passes, 35 of 55. 328 yards, 3 touchdowns, interception. He also lost a fumble. McMillan, Teteroa McMillan was great. 6 catches for 100 yards. He's their 8th overall pick out of Arizona. He's a beast. Chuba Hubbard ran 10 times for 38 yards, caught 5 passes. Got one of them for a touchdown. Panthers struggled on third down, as always, 5 of 15. They did go 3 of 4 on fourth down. They also went 3 of 4 in the red zone. And they were excellent on third down defensively. They held the Cardinals to 3 of 9 and 2 of 4 in the red zone. The pass rush struggled mightily. 1 sack, 4 quarterback hits. DJ Wanham had an interception. Starting left tackle Akem Ekwonu returned after missing week 1 because of an appendectomy, which should be a good thing. But as everyone talked about, center Austin Corbett was placed on injury reserve Monday. He sustained a knee injury. And then Robert Hunt was placed on injured reserve Monday after tearing his biceps in a 27-22 loss to the Cardinals. Take it away for us here, Troy Torrence, Falcons, Panthers.
So we're looking at a very similar market that we've seen in the Rams and Titans game in terms of open line movements, and I expect this to be closing 5.5, 6 based on if the money line price is any indication. And I do have a Falcons in a money line parlay that I talked about earlier. Hey, listen, this Panthers team, I'm kind of really confused about both these teams, to be honest, because the Panthers down 20 late, they come back to cover. The noise canceled score was 24-24. Very interesting. I really have to go back and watch what happened in that Panthers-Cardinals game because I was not paying attention to that game at all on Sunday. The offensive line's grading out towards the bottom of the league for this Panthers unit. Trickles down to the quarterback, to the running back, to the wide receiver. And Bryce Young, I believe, is somewhere in between pre- and post-Red Rifle era. But 55 passes in one game is a major red flag. I'm not believing in the offensive production I'm seeing especially when you're trying to make that miraculous comeback late. And the Panthers defense, I mean, we know this is a bottom 5 unit. They can't stop the run, mostly because they can't tackle. And the coverage scheme, the coverage, like the scheme just seems rudimentary, at least from what I seen in week 1 when I was, looking at the Jags and potentially betting on them against the Bengals. But the Falcons' offensive line is weaker than we've seen in years past, from elite to league average. But I think Penix is the best quarterback they've had in years. His ability to drive the ball downfield, which we haven't really seen yet. He has the ability to beat the blitz. He has a high IQ, 0 turnover-worthy plays thus far this season. And I feel like his spray chart, I get bullish looking at his spray chart because only 30% of his throws come through the center of the field. That's half of what Cam Ward's throwing out there. Half of Cam Ward's throws are coming in between the hashes, essentially, which is mind-blowing. 60% for Cam Ward, major red flag. This team, this Falcons offense, they're great at receiver. They're great at running back. I think this offense is going to be good. The defense is where I started having questions. If you remember, I was super bullish on this Falcons team preseason. Fast forward to week 2, and I'm trying to fade the shit out of them for 3 units with the Vikings. Look like a fool. They still have some question marks, but I love what they're doing. A bend but don't break type of defense, right? They're 6th overall in tackling, so they're being able to rally into the football after the catch is made. The pass rush is not as bad as I thought. I thought this pass rush was going to be bad. I thought what we seen in week 1 was a fluke. All 4 down linemen are in their first or second year. I feel like this team has the sky's the limit for this defensive line. They're starting to make an influence, and Diablo is probably the most influential player on this defense. In the secondary, I think they have pieces like Bates, Watts, the freshman. I think he's going to be solid, and Hughes and Terrell. Like, there's some veterans. Like, there's some reason to think this Falcons defense took some massive steps forward. Even though I don't believe in the coaching of this team, I think this is a nice spot for them. Historically, the road team wins this spot over 75% of the time on the money line. Nice soft opponent for the Falcons offense to break out, especially in the running game. I think the Falcons are going to establish the run, win this one comfortably. I'm considering, Falcons ATS, but I do like the Falcons Colts plus 130 money line parlay.
It's such a good question, D. Jenkins. Your expectation of the Panthers defense versus the Falcons offense. I mean, it's crucial. I think the under is the look here. But do I really trust the Panthers defense? And I can't say that I do, man.
No, man. No, it's looked extremely bad, especially in the run game. I didn't watch week 2. But they looked so bad in the run game.
But the Falcon, like Penix is getting adulation for how smart he's playing. Everybody's telling him this. You talked about the 0 turnover worthy plays. He hasn't had a turnover yet this season. He's keeping everything clean. He's just doing the job he's doing. It's very different from what we're used to from Kirk Cousins, amongst others that have quarterbacked. So I don't see this being a high scoring game. I don't see the Falcons putting up a ton of points. If they get up, I see them slowing everything down and just running the ball. Does the Carolina Panthers rush defense have a chance against this squad?
I don't believe so. And that's just based off the past 2 games that they played. I think both Algier and Bijan in the 2 matchups last season had over 100 yards apiece in both games. Let me see if that's true. That seems pretty ridiculous, but I know at least in one of them they did.
I'm surprised that everybody, Omer and Vincent, thinking that the Falcons are going to put up all these points outside. It just, Penix is getting all this love for being cautious and smart and not putting his team in trouble. I don't see why that would change here. The Falcons are not looking to go out there and win by 40 points, in my estimation. And I hear you guys bullish on the over, but I'm going to take a very, very close look at the under here.
I would not say that I'm one to be bullish on the over in this spot.
The Falcons have not shown us. What they've shown us is they're a good football team. That they've handled the injuries to their offensive line. I mean, that was a huge piece they lost in Caleb McGarry right before the season started. So they've shown us that they're a good team, and the loss to the Buccaneers looks a little better. You know, that the Buccaneers could go out on the road and beat the Texans. I thought it was a harder job to go into Houston and beat them than it was to go into Atlanta and beat them, despite Atlanta and Tampa Bay, you know, a divisional spot. And maybe I was wrong. D. Jenkins says if Terrell is out, I need to see the Falcons secondary without him. He's so good. I guess that's important too. But he's not. He's still just listed as questionable. They haven't come out and said much about it, which is probably a good sign. But again, would the MRI even be done on a Tuesday when?
And the Falcons so far, I mean, they've been struggling in the red zone, right?
Oh, yeah. Badly.
And being able to get this defense in front of them where they have in the past been able to just turn around, hand the ball off, and score touchdowns. I mean, they were one of 5 in the red zone against the Vikings. 1 of 5. What is that going to be against a team like the Panthers? I think it's going to be 4 of 5. But it's not like I love the over. I'm not trying to make a case for the over. I'm trying to make a case for the Falcons.
Okay. Well, I'm interested in the under. I'll see what I don't want the Falcons at this number. And those of you like Luchase Fox who got the 3, excellent work. But I'm going to be focusing on the under, and I'll kind of figure out if I can get there or not. Let's roll on. Next up for us, a triple up spot for me. Here we go. Triple up spot for me, Houston Texans, Jacksonville Jaguars, Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida, 81 Fahrenheit. It's another spot where we have a light rain listed that could change at 10 mile per hour winds. And as I said, I tripled up. I am on the first half over 21.5. I'm on the full. That was minus 120. That was at 365. The Houston Jacksonville full game over 43.5. And I'm with chosen one. I'm on the Texans money line at plus 111. I understand that this isn't a sell high spot on Jacksonville after they just lost to a backup quarterback. But I do think this is a buy low spot on the Texans with their entire season on the line. And I think that what we saw from the Buccaneers is the Buccaneers are a really good football team. If you guys are high on the Falcons, imagine the Falcons coming into Jacksonville right now. Wouldn't we be hammering the Falcons? Wouldn't we be? I don't know if I'd move on the over in that one, but I probably would, because you'd get a similar number because the Falcons have had trouble putting up points here. So let's take a look at the line history. This is a triple up spot. I've invested and I'm pumped up about it. We have, and you guys know 1 out of 10 bets for me on totals are overs. I look for unders. I rarely bet overs, and I'm doubling up on this over. We get to the line history here for Houston, Jacksonville. We have a total right now at 44. This opened up. The look ahead was 43. It came out a little after midnight. Yesterday morning at 43.5. It climbed up to 44.5, and then it dropped back to 44 at 2:11 p.m. I got that 43.5, and I was at minus 111. We get to the side here for this one. I'll go to the money line. I think that's a better example of where this has gone. We have Houston at plus 112. The look ahead was plus 110. This was Houston minus 105 this morning. There's been a move towards Jacksonville, and I don't care. I don't care that there's been a move towards Jacksonville. When we get, because I mean, like everyone thinks Texans look like trash, and now they're going on the road. Look, I get it. So I'm not concerned that the line has moved against me here. 50-50 ticket count, 58% of cash on Jacksonville, 66 and 62 is on the over.
If that number gets up to 2, you're about to see heavy Texans money come in. Probably enough money on Texans +2 that's going to move this line. That's going to flip this line.
Oh, it's well, I'm excited. I'm excited here. The Texans come in off a disappointing 2019 loss at home to the Buccaneers. Without an established weapon other than Nico Collins, CJ Stroud struggles. We watched him struggle mightily. The Texans only had 12 first downs. He was 13 of 24 for 207 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 4 times for 27 yards. Nick Chubb ran 12 times for 43 yards, touchdown, caught 2 passes for 29 yards. They were 2 of 9 on third down. They were 0 and 2 in the red zone. The defense was strong throughout, but they couldn't stop the run. I know that Etienne's having a better year than I expected, but I do not fear Jacksonville on the ground. The Buccaneers finished with 169 yards rushing. I fear Bucky Irving and Rachaad White on the ground. They only had 84 yards rushing for the Texans. They held the Bucs to 6 of 14 on third down, but allowed them to go 2 of 3 in the red zone. And the pass rush had 4 sacks and 6 quarterback hits. I believe in this defense. This defense is going to win me the football game, and the opposition defense is so bad that we can get over this total. The Jaguars coming off a 31-27 loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, who were playing without star quarterback Joe Burrow. Got hurt late in the second quarter. Trevor Lawrence was 24-42 for 271 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Parker Washington led receivers with 5 catches for 76 yards. Jamie Brown had 5 for 57 and a touchdown. Etienne ran 14 times for 71 yards and caught 2 for 18 yards touchdown. He's playing much better than I expected him to. Remember, after that week 100-yard game, that was just his second 100-yard game in 28 games. The defense allowed a backup quarterback to score on 4 of his 8 drives. They allowed the Bengals to go 3 of 4 in the red zone. The pass rush had 3 sacks and 9 quarterback hits against the weakest offensive line in the business. I don't care. They got 3 interceptions. The Jags did. They only managed 1 touchdown as a result of those picks. Look, I'm on the Jaguars win total under. Troy's much higher on their 29-year-old offensive coordinator. I'm impressed with Liam Cohen. I'm impressed with what they've done this year. But we saw who they really were. And now maybe they're back home and they'll be good again. But the whole season's on the line for DeMeco Ryans. I think he gets everything out of this team. And I'm on them. Take it away for us here, Troy. Triple up spot for me, Texans-Jags.
Yeah, looking at this Jags team, who I was higher on, and it was mostly because the offensive coordinator, I thought he was going to be able to bring Trevor Lawrence along with him because I really did believe in him. But I just am starting to throw in the towel on Trevor Lawrence. One of the worst PFF grades right now in his career. I've talked about this multiple seasons now. He continues to miss the easy throws. I mentioned it every week. Back to the Futures video, probably every week last year. He misses, rudimentary, easy, simple throws for an NFL quarterback. Misses them all the time. He had an unwarranted pick in the red zone that ultimately lost him the game. That was early on. I feel like his EPA per dropback is average. He's not good. He's not good. We're talking about an average EPA per dropback against a team like the Panthers and the Bengals. Those are not good defenses. I feel like they're relying heavily on scheme. And I feel like the results are reflecting their strength of schedule. Really, their strength of schedule has just been so soft for this offense year to date. It's about to be a rude awakening for the most pissed off team in the NFL, in my opinion. 0-2, coming into a divisional game. It's a must-win situation, an absolute must-win situation. A team like the Jags might be a little bit down after that heartbreaking loss. How do you lose a game? Where a backup quarterback comes in and throws you 3 picks and you have the lead when he comes in? It's just unacceptable. Like, that's got to be heart-wrenching. I don't think it's going to create a situation where the team's going to come back super pissed off. It's going to put doubt in their heads. And I think that's exactly what we want for this defense. I think Stroud was impressive. The Texans' offense is not disciplined. There were so many times where they would make a massive mistake, get a holding call, get a false start. Just things went wrong. Like, it's just not a disciplined offense, and it's a problem. Stroud increased his ADOT. I talked about what they needed to do that. The offense looked better, but it still failed to meet what I could expect this offense to reach. His ADOT went from 6.7 to 9.2 in week 2. He was much better, but that red zone sequence where they could not score, it was embarrassing. And I feel like that killed Stroud. Like in that game, not being able to convert that to a touchdown, especially missing that throw to Nico Collins. He has all the tools. Now it just comes down to execution. The offensive line, I'm shocked to see the run block win rate and the run block rate per PFF, because I don't get it. Like, yeah, the run blocking is better than it was last year. I would say that. But if you go back and watch film, like, they just have no running backs that are really able to take advantage of any type of good line yards that the offense gains. It's just a bad situation with the running, being able to run the ball. But now they get this opponent, this Jaguars team, who really has not been tested. I have faith this offense could develop into something better. And you know my sentiment on this Texans defense. But can we tackle somebody? I mean, don't we have a defensive head coach? Like, why are we not wrapping up? Multiple times, Bucky Irvin was just bouncing off guys. They're bottom 5 in the tackle quarter category per PFF right now. But the pass rush is second. I feel like that's going to be a massive problem for this Jaguars offensive line, which right now is grading out fantastically. 2nd in run block, 7th in pass block. This is the Jaguars offensive line. We know who this offensive line is. It was a matter of playing the Panthers and the Bengals. That is about to come falling back to earth after playing this game. I love this spot. And looking at the market in division is where I want this road team. Divisional road teams between +2 and -2 are 26 and 12 ATS and straight up, 23 and 15 to the under. But then it starts to flip because you start looking at totals higher than 44. You start to see a better trend towards the under, a better trend towards the road team ATS. And I want to continue to fade them. Jags at home, -3 or less, the past 3 years are 1-3 straight up. And ATS 4-0 to the under, though, with the Jags in that spot. But I'm on the Texans money line. I bet it at +110. And if the Jags close -2.5, hey, I'll be the first to say I'm not confident in my action. But I think this is more likely to close Jags +1.5 than Jags -2.5.
I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up about this game. I'm so interested in it. And I think that the Jaguars are just going to – the market will correct itself when you guys see a team, like I'm talking about, one-dimensional, bad O-line. When you see a team like that put up 30 points on the Jaguars, you'll go, oh, how many more weeks do we have before the market corrects himself? And maybe 1 or 2. I think this soars over. I can understand why X's and O's would take you off of that.
Oh, why am I not? Is there any 2s? Can I get a 2? I'll double up on this damn spot. I'm not going to be able to get it.
I'm excited. And I can understand and totally, all you cappers in the chat, I work with you every day. I respect you guys very much. And AM says they have 28 points through 2 games. So would you put the Jacksonville Jaguars defense with the Rams defense and the Buccaneers defense? I don't. We'll see though, buddy. It's part of the fun. We don't need to agree. We're not yes men. So I'm going to roll on. That concludes 1 p.m. action, and I can't wait for it. We roll on 4:05 p.m. Eastern with the Denver Broncos 1-1, 0-1 on the road at the LA Chargers 2-0, 1-0 at home. SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. Broncos, Chargers. This is going to be a fun afternoon game. I got the money line up. Let me just quickly switch to the point spread. We have the Chargers right now at -2.5, but it's very juiced. So there's 3s out there. You get a 3 at plus money. This look ahead was a 3 at a pick'em. Then it came out on Sunday night at a 2.5, and that's where it is right now. Since it came out at 2.5, there's been a 10-cent move towards the Chargers. When we get to the total here in this one, I'll go over here. From a total standpoint, we have a 46. The look ahead was 43.5, and then this opened up on Sunday night at 46, and it has stayed there. Went up to 46.5, went down to 45.5, but we're back at a 46. So we have a 2.5-point move from the look ahead, and then a 0.5-point move to the under from what it popped off on Sunday. Let's get to the cash flow here. We have only information on the side, 68% of the tickets on the Chargers and 93% of the cash. It's a lot of Chargers action. Broncos coming off a wild 29-28 loss at Indianapolis. The Broncos were outgained 473 to 324. Bo Nix was 22 of 30 for 206 yards, 3 touchdowns, interception. Troy Franklin caught 8 passes for 89 yards and a touchdown. And he also ran once for 11 yards. But nobody else caught for more than 24 yards. It's the Troy Franklin show. We have J.K. Dobbins with 14 carries for 76 yards and a touchdown. That was a bit of a surprise because R.J. Harvey did squad as zilch, 5 carries for 8 yards. The Broncos were a perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. The defense was strong also in the red zone. They held the Colts to 2 of 6. The pass rush was very quiet. We know why. The Colts offensive line is really strong. Pass rush was quiet. Broncos had 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits. And what we saw is that this defense desperately needs Dre Greenlaw back on the field. So he was not placed on short-term IR. He could possibly – they say he's going to return within 4 games. So I think it's hard to believe that he will return this week, but it's a possibility. Chargers coming off a 29 victory at the Raiders. Herbert was 19 to 27 for 242 yards, 2 touchdowns. He also ran 9 times for 31 yards. Q looked great. He's 3 touchdowns through 2 games. He led receivers with 3 catches for 71 yards. He's got confidence. Keenan Allen, 5 catches for 61 yards. Shout out to the nuke worker who gave out the Keenan Allen touchdown on our live stream last night. The defense was strong despite not having linebacker Denzel Perryman in the lineup. And now you lose another linebacker in Khalil Mack. I've told you guys, my Pops season ticket holder, Diane Henley my dad thinks he's the best linebacker in the NFL. And he continues to play at a very elite level. 7
he's
tackles.
Always around the tackle, always around the pile. He's in every play and every shot you watch on. It's incredible what he's doing.
It's not Derwin James' defense anymore. This is Diane Henley's defense. The Chargers' defense looked very good, but how could it keep looking good? Do we just think Jesse Minter is a genius? You can't. I don't know how you take Perryman and Khalil Mack out. Now maybe Henley is that good, but that's just a lot to ask. This group has now opened the season with back-to-back games of not allowing a touchdown in the first half. It's very, very impressive. It's the 7th time since the start of last season that the Chargers have not allowed a touchdown in the opening half. This is a locked-in group. So just to give you an idea, the Chargers joined the Ravens, Commanders, Lions, and Eagles as the only teams in the NFL with at least 7 games since 2024 of not allowing a touchdown in the first half. This is a very tricky football game. Is this as simple as we should sell the Chargers high and buy the Broncos low? Or do we think the Chargers might be elite? Take it away, Troy. Broncos, Chargers.
I want to buy the Broncos low, but -2.5 on the road against this Chargers team is not low, in my opinion. I feel like they're getting way too much respect in the market. I want to repeat myself because a lot of my notes on this game, I'm just going back to when this team plays competent opponents and how their defense gets Swiss cheesed. We've seen it last week. Bo Nix, this offense, right now grading out 28th. Bo Nix, the lowest ADOT in the NFL, right by Aaron Rodgers, tied, right there with neck and neck. He has league average EPA per dropback. His PFF grade is 34th. By far the worst graded quarterback. There's a steep drop off between him and 33rd. The turnover-worthy play is 32nd. I guess it's a step up from 34. 7.2% is the sophomore slump happening. I think it could be happening, and maybe it's my boy Gary Payton putting too much on his plate in his sophomore year. He put his feet to the fire early last season, helped him develop. Now is he kind of ruining all that development by just throwing too much at the kid? Because if you hear professionals talk about playing under Payton, you hear about how complex the offense is, how long the play calls are. I know you've seen the clips of Gruden giving out play calls. It's hilarious. They're very similar to what you would hear from Payton. Is it the offensive line's fault? Is that why Bo Nix is playing so bad? Absolutely not. They're first in pass block, 12th in run block. It's not the offensive line. So it just has me turning back to the scheme. I think they have enough weapons to be successful. I think there's a scheme issue, especially like how that pairs with Bo Nix, this offense. I know they put up a lot. They put up numbers against the Colts, but, some of the advanced systems would say that that was a fake offensive performance. I knew this defense was going to regress. It's unavoidable. 100% of the teams that had their EPA per play defensively last year regressed in the following season. I feel like we're going to see that. They're very solid in the trenches, don't get me wrong. But why are they blitzing so much? I feel like, I rewatched the film between the Colts and the Broncos, and I feel like it was just so obvious what they were doing. Daniel Jones couldn't take advantage of it in the red zone, but you know who I think will? Justin Herbert. We've seen him do it against this Broncos team before. Justin Herbert right now is second in EPA per dropback, only behind Lamar Jackson. And unlike Daniel Jones, like I just said, like he's going to be able to execute. He has way more offensive threats, in my opinion, especially in man coverage, to go to. Weapons galore. I think Hampton looked much better in his second game. The Chargers defense is right now graded per PFF second. I think they're the best coach, the most disciplined unit in the NFL. They know what the scheme is. Last night, it was funneling Geno Smith to the zones, the part of the field where they want him, in the middle of the field. And that's where he wants to throw the ball. They baited him there, and they really, Geno Smith really struggled with Harbaugh's defense, in my opinion. And this is an opportunity for the best team in the division to take a commanding lead. I think they're the better offense, the better coach team with a high-quality defense. Maybe not as good as the Broncos, but I think the Broncos have something to show because they're not tackling well. Their defense has kind of been getting exposed. Herbert destroyed the Broncos defense last season. It was 20-0 at half in Denver last year. They were 11 for 18 on third down. They had over 7 yards per play in the first half, and they called off the dogs. A slow death, as someone called it in the chat, because we see that Harbaugh just takes the air out of the ball in the second half if they got a big lead. And then versus Denver at home, 34 points, 50% on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone, 6.2 yards per play, 380 yards of total offense. I think that, Herbert's going to be just fine in the spot. I bet the Chargers -2.5 at -110.
So touch on this linebacking crew without Khalil Mack and without Denzel Perryman for, likely the rest of the season.
Well, for Perriman's out for season, but Khalil Mack, what's his deal? Is he out for season?
We don't know yet.
Well, Khalil Mack, I feel like I know he led the league in sacks last year, but I don't see that he has the same production that he had in Chicago. When you really break down what he was doing, how often he was winning, how often he commanded a double team. And he actually worked out in my best man at my wedding at the gym he trains at. And he's a personal trainer there. Khalil Mack, Jimmy Butler, there's some high-end athletes that go in there. And Khalil Mack was a slouch. He didn't want to do it. He showed up late. He left early. He was a big time. He was a big time type of guy. That's why he's injured right now. So I'm not that big. I was not that high on Khalil Mack, to be honest. But Perriman's definitely a loss. But Henley's been so good in the middle, and the scheme is just so good. I know Harbaugh's going to have his boys prepared. So it's not that big of a deal for me.
Birdie says Henley and Derwin driving that defense, both being elite. They're two of my favorite players in the league.
Slim Fabo in the chat out of nowhere. There he is. Vouch. He's always watching. He's always listening.
I love it. Respect. Well, Chargers -2.5 for Troy. What was the VIG?
I got -110.
All right. I need to sit with this longer. It's a tough one. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 4:05 p.m. Eastern, the New Orleans Saints, 0-2, but have looked very good. Very good's a little much. Looked much better than we thought they would at home. At the Seattle Seahawks, 1-1, but 0-1 at Lumen Field, where they have struggled over the last few years. 63 Fahrenheit, mostly cloudy, 6-mile-per-hour winds. Let's get into the line history here. Our total is a 41.5. It's -112 to the under. The look ahead was 40.5. When this came out on Sunday night, it was a 42, and it went up to 43 before it dropped heavily dropped heavily yesterday in the early morning hours and got all the way down to 41 before it came back up to 41.5. So it's up a point from the look ahead, and it's down at least a half point. You could consider it down 1.5 from the opening after the football games took place last weekend. When we get to the line history on the spread, we have the Seattle Seahawks -7.5 at -107. The look ahead was 7.5. When it came out on Sunday night, it was an 8, and it came back down to 7.5. Cash flow wise for Seahawks Saints, 70% of the tickets are on the Seahawks, just 55% of the cash. 67% of tickets are on the under, and 85% of cash on the under. Man, Bear, Pig liking this for the Saints here. I think that we're going to see who they really are on the road. And I want to bet against them. The problem is it's you're buying the Seahawks high, which I think I could come to grips with very comfortably here. And I just wanted to talk it up before I move on it. Saints coming off a 26-21 home loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Still looking for their first victory under rookie coach Kellen Moore. They lost their first 2 games of the season at home by 1 score or less. It was impressive. They had the ball with a chance to tie the game or take the lead in the final minutes. They were much better than I expected them to be. Now, how are they going to look on the road in a much tougher environment? Spencer Rattler was 25-34 for 207 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. Those are great numbers. He's 0-8 in his career as a starter. He's got weapons, and they're healthy. Look at the receiving core. Olave caught 6 for 54. Rashid Shaheed, the speedster, caught 4 for 52 and a touchdown. Jawan Johnson caught 5 for 49 and a touchdown. And Kamara playing well. He ran 21 times for 99 yards. He caught 6 passes for 21 yards. He did lose a fumble. He's been doing a lot of that the last couple of years. The Saints were 4 of 11 on third down, which is not good, but they were perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. Now, defensively, they allowed Mac Jones to put up 279 yards passing. They let the 49ers, with all of their injuries, go 8 of 15 on third down and a perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone. Now, the pass rush was strong. 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, but for these 2 weeks, New Orleans been playing without their starting guard, Trevor Penning, with a foot injury, and their defensive end, Chase Young. Both are listed as questionable. Defensive tackle Vernon Broughton is expected to miss the remainder of the year. He sustained a hip injury in Sunday's 26-21 loss to the 49ers, but they're used to playing without Penning and Chase Young, and they're playing well. I think that this is a sell high spot on the New Orleans Saints. The problem is you have to be comfortable buying the Seahawks high. And I just cashed them last week, and so I'm hesitant. The Seahawks coming off an impressive 31-17 win at Pittsburgh. They dominated the second half. They outscored the Steelers 24-3. Of course, as we talked about earlier, it changed drastically when Caleb Johnson turned his back on live football and George Holani jumped on it for his first career touchdown. Look, it changed drastically. Darnold, though, was 22 for 33 for 295 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jackson Smith-Njigba is elite. 8 passes he caught for 103 yards. Cooper Kupp got 7 for 90. And Kenneth Walker stepped up. PFF's been telling us that this is what he's capable of. My eyes say, when are we going to see it? We finally saw it. He looked great. 13 carries for 105 yards and a touchdown. Seahawks were 2 of 3 in the red zone. Held the Steelers to 5 of 15 on third down, 1 of 2 in the red zone. The pass rush was formidable. 3 sacks, 8 quarterback hits. Kobe Bryant, and Darian Kendrick each had interceptions. Quarterback Devon Witherspoon is dealing with an MCL contusion to his knee. It is possible that he could return for the game on Sunday, and that would help. Emin Wari, their safety, missed the Steelers game. He's listed as questionable this week. So AM says, why do you think you are selling the Saints high? Oh, the Saints were much better than we expected them to be. That's all. I think they were much, much better than we expected them to be. They played the Cardinals. I mean, look, they could be 2-0. They had the ball driving at the end of the game to win it. I think this is selling the Saints high. I have them to be the worst team in the NFL this year. I'm going to lose that bet. There's no doubt in my mind I'm going to lose that bet. I have them at big plus money to win under 4.5 games. I'm going to lose that bet. They've proven that, I believe, so far. I believe this is a sell high spot. Be curious to hear, Troy, if you think it's a sell high spot on the Saints and if you even want the Seahawks. Take it away, my man.
I don't know if I want the Seahawks, but I do think it is a sell high spot on the Saints. They've outperformed expectations offensively, defensively. You look at Rattler, you look at some of these veteran players on their defense that are able to hold it together. I mean, I feel like this Saints team is overperformed. I do think they're better than we thought, but they're still overperforming to some extent. There's a fair ground in the middle somewhere where they're going to regress back to. It's just, this is not a matchup and a number I'm comfortable with. I thought that this number opened way too heavy in respect to the Seahawks at 7.5. I mean, to me, that number seemed way too big, and that would have to make me lean towards the Seahawks because I'm not a believer in this Saints team. I think you have a quarterback advantage. Sam Darnold, they definitely catered to Sam Darnold way better in the second game than they did in the first game. I think they were forced to do that because of the vaunted pass rush from this Steelers team that has not been performing. I do want to go back and watch that Saints game from this past week. I did pay pretty close attention to the Seahawks, and I thought the Seahawks week over week looked incredible. So I would only be looking towards the Seahawks in this type of market environment. And Saints' first road game with Rattler, who's proven he's at least competitive at home. How's he going to do on the road, on the West Coast, with what used to be the 11th man or the 12th man? So I feel like this is a dead zone spot for me. I'm not going to have any action in this game.
He has played in 3 road games in Spencer Rattler's career. The only one where he looked good was his very last road game. It was the last game of the year against the Buccaneers, and he looked pretty good. The Buccaneers needed it to clinch the South. It was the game when Mike Evans surpassed 1,000.
Yeah, man. On that last play, that was that's the Bucs defense that sticks in my mind. I don't know what's going on with it. I just get confused with the Bucs team.
They played bad. So this is his road record. In his very first road game, his team scored 8 points. He was 12 of 24 for 156 yards. And that was in pretty nice situation in LA. Against
was Chris Olave in that game?
I will check right now. In his second road game, it was in a much more difficult situation. Yes, Olave caught for 107 yards in that game. 107 of the 156 passing yards that Rattler had. In his second road game, he put up 0 points in Green Bay. They lose 34-0. He goes 15 of 30 for 153 yards and throws an interception. And then he had an okay game against Tampa.
What was the line in that game? That was Packers. Let's see what the lines were.
The line was 14.5 in that game.
14.5.
Yeah. So I want to fade him on the road. And yes, no.
Another one was week 8 at the Chargers, or no?
So here, let me go back to it. So yes, you guys want context? We'll give you context. It was 26-8 loss at the Chargers.
7.5
game, and we had Olave, Kamara, Juwan Johnson, everybody in. Taysom Hill was running the ball with Kamara as well.
Sharps were hammering the Saints in that game.
And then in game 2, his other road start where he loses 34-0. In that game, he had just Juwan Johnson. You're right. That was a bad one. That was when Olave was not available. Look, my issues. I don't know if I want to buy the Seahawks high. There's no doubt in my mind I would like to fade the Saints on the road. And it's not beyond the realm of possibilities that I'm wrong, that the Saints did show us at home, that they're a pretty good team. But remember that first game, not pretty good, just better than we expected. Sorry, let me rephrase that. That they're not the worst team in the league. Remember, Kyler Murray was sick, stomach flu in that first game. And then you play Mac Jones and make him look like a 300-yard passer. And now you take him on the road.
Yeah. And the Saints on the road as a touchdown favorite or as a touchdown dog or lower, they're 0-4 ATS, 0-4 straight up. over the last few years, and they're only scoring an average of 6 points in those games.
And look at Birdie. Listen to this. He says Kubiak is at an advantage here as well. He would know Rattler's tendencies and where McDonald needs to put him to capitalize on mistakes. And then Birdie says, I may have to get out of this Saints bet. I didn't realize he was already on it. So, yes, I'm going to be on the Seahawks. I've just got to figure out how. Does this set up for the Bills double result parlayed with the Seahawks money line? Do I want the Seahawks double result here? I want to fade the Saints and Rattler in his first road game. I also think that, yes, it's a buying high spot for Seattle, but they have been telling each other that we have to start winning at home. We have to make this a tough place to play. I don't think that they're going to look past their opponent because of how bad they've been at home lately. 4%.
What is this money line price?
So again, DG, you can look at the final result. That's that they're 0-2 against the spread. Or you can look at the fact that they had the ball with less than 2 minutes to play in the opponent's end and touchdown wins the game. And look, however you want to handle it. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying there's different ways of looking at it. Reframe it however it helps you put your money down with confidence. They played much better than I thought they were going to play. Their offenses looked much better. Spencer Rattler's looked much better. So that's all I'm saying. We don't have to agree. There's nothing wrong with not agreeing. I'm going to be moving on the Seahawks in a couple different ways, but I don't know if that includes a -7.5. I'm still working on it. Anything you want to add to this, Troy, before we move on?
This move, yeah, I might be with you on the money line. I just don't have nothing to do with it yet. I'm not on this game. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it, man.
Let's roll on. Next up for us, we head to Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. We've watched this total climb. Dallas Cowboys 1-1, 0-1 on the road. The Chicago Bears 0-2, 0-1 at home. 78 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 13-mile-per-hour winds. Let's go over everything, and then I'll tell you my thoughts or my plan around this. First off, it's a pick 'em. I think it's a better look on the money line. Why don't we just move over to the money line because it is juiced towards the Dallas Cowboys here. So I think it's better if we do the money line. Right now, the Bears opened up a -125. There was no look ahead. Just opened up -125. And since then, it's moved towards the Cowboys. The Cowboys have gone from +105 to -105. So not much movement. When we get to the total for this one, we have the 50. This one's just been climbing. Look ahead was 46. And then this came out on Sunday night at 48.5, moved up to 49, got to 49.5, and then closed at 50. Cowboys come in. Oh, let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have 82% of tickets on Dallas and 77% of the cash. 94% of tickets on the over and 91% of cash on the over. Vincent Hawkins says both teams totals over. AM says Bears smash. Billy Brisbane in the house says Bears offense had promising moments last week, and they do it for 4 quarters. Cowboys coming off a wild 40-37 victory at home over the Giants to give new head coach Brian Schottenheimer his first win as an NFL head coach. Dak was 38-52 for 361 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception. He beat the Giants for the 14th straight time. Lost both games against them as a rookie in 2016. Has beaten them every game since. CeeDee Lamb caught 9 for 112. He looks great. 4th consecutive 100-yard game. I know there's been some blatant misses, but still. 4 straight 100-yard games going back to last season. He's locked in. Jake Ferguson caught 9 for 78. Javonte Williams has looked much better than I expected him to. He ran 18 times for 97 yards. Touchdown, caught 6 for 33 yards. The Cowboys put up 478 yards of total offense. 6 of 14 on third down. A perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. And Brandon Aubrey is the best kicker. I mean, look, I'm a Boswell guy, but Aubrey's probably the best kicker in the league. Their defense looked awful. Giants racked up 506 total yards on them. The pass rush had 3 sacks and 6 quarterback hits, but they let Wilson throw for 450 yards. Donovan Wilson did have an interception in overtime. despite getting gashed all over the field, they held the Giants to 1 of 5 in the red zone and 6 of 14 on third down. Cavante Turpin is dealing with a neck injury, and Cooper Beebe hurt his ankle after halftime, and it is a high ankle sprain. So their center, Cooper Beebe, is going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. Deron Bland, their cornerback, missed the Giants games list, is questionable play here this week. The Bears come in off a horrific 52-21 loss at Detroit. Their secondary allowed 5 Jared Goff passing touchdowns in the defeat. Caleb Williams was 19 of 30 for 207 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the pick. Odunze looked great. He caught 7 passes for 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, I just don't trust him at all. He's not the right running back for any team in the NFL. He's just the running back that you bring in to switch things up. When you want to throw some. He's a Samaje Perine. He ran 12 times, 63 yards and a touchdown. He caught 3 for 6. He also lost a fumble. The Bears were 7 of 13 on third down and 2 of 2 in the red zone. They just couldn't get any stops. Their defense was abysmal. The pass rush didn't sack Goff once. They allowed the Lions to rack up 511 total yards and go 6 of 7 in the red zone. 6 of 7 in the red zone. And now what are they going to do? Kyler Gordon, hamstring, wasn't active. Starting linebacker TJ Edwards, hamstring. Jalen Johnson, groin, left the game with injuries. Jalen Johnson is out indefinitely. We heard off the top that the season is probably over. Gordon is week to week. Edwards is week to week. So Kyler Gordon, TJ Edwards, Jalen Johnson, none of them will be in the game here on Sunday. Take it away for us here, Troy. Cowboys, Bears.
I will say that I think the high total in this market, really market that we don't know. I think the market's going to move quite a bit before kickoff. But I do think that the high total does favor the home team in this non-divisional, low pick-em-ish type of price range. But this Bears team, don't they fit the mold for someone you'd want to back in week 3, coming off an embarrassing divisional loss, back at home, 0-2 ATS, 0-2 straight up. Nobody wants anything to do with them at this point. And this is not supposed to be a rebuild type of year. They're supposed to be evolving into a competitive team, and they're definitely not doing that. I think all of it has to come back full circle to Caleb Williams, guy who wears nail polish, who calls the draft pick up and says, hey, we're not going to be punting very much, so have a good time in Chicago. Moping on the sidelines last year. This year's EPA per drop back is 26th in the NFL. You don't turn the ball over, which I'm starting to see is a bad sign because he's not trusting his read. He's not trusting his offense. He can't throw to a spot versus zone. He can't, he comes off his when he's up against man coverage, he comes off his routes way too quickly. He did a better job from the pocket in week 2 against the Lions, but it wasn't even close to a clean performance. I think his poor performance is affecting the offensive line, who's not their league average. They're supposed to be a top 10 unit, fully capable. Weaponry around Caleb Williams, he's not able to take advantage of it. It's the same old story, man. I'm inching closer and closer each week to abandoning this team, at least until 2025. The vibe is not good at all. It hasn't been since preseason. Ben Johnson showing a dismay for Caleb Williams. And the defense was a complete embarrassment. 8.8 yards per play. I had some hope against the Vikings. I know McCarthy diced them up in the fourth quarter, which is probably a better sign of what's to come with this defense. I talked about my concerns with the transition from a zone D to a man coverage defense. This is not the team to do it. I feel like they don't have the personnel to do that. And I am not bullish at all on this Bears team. The Cowboys, Dak Prescott, he's going to be good and effective with these weapons. They're going to be able to put up some points. The Cowboys are 32nd in pass block win rate, 20th in run block rate per PFF. Cowboys offensive line is just not really holding up. Now, they did have a couple tough matchups with the Eagles and with the Giants offensive line or defensive line, which is pretty strong. The defense is terrible. They allowed this Cowboys defense 500 yards to Russell Wilson and the Giants. Come on, man. What am I supposed to expect in this game? I feel like the market's not giving me any type of clarity. The matchup itself, looking under the hood, is not giving me any clarity. Nobody wants this Bears team, which means I kind of do. And I guess it would be Bears or pass, but I'm not betting on it.
I agree that it's Bears or pass. I don't know how. I think it's extremely difficult to press the button. If they weren't dealing with these injuries, then I would say, bounce back. It would be immediate. bounce back. But these injuries are real, and so is the Cooper Beebe injury to the Cowboys. You take out the starting center for the Cowboys, with the injuries to the Bears secondary, with the ability of the Cowboys, Dak Prescott, and wide receiving group, I get why this over has gone, soared. It's a pretty easy over to get onto. Now it's gotten pretty high.
It's too high.
So touch on the total for us.
It's too high. These low point spreads, they go under at a high clip until you start creeping over 47. When you narrow it down to the sample of this market type with a high total, it's still going under. It's still going under. What am I talking about? Yeah. This market type, these low spreads really are competitive games or they're blowouts. In a blowout, you got milky milk, and in a very competitive game, very close game, which you see a lot of 2-point finishes in the sample I'm looking at right now. I feel like you see more conservative play from both sides of the ball. So I would only be looking towards the under. And even though X's and O's, you look at what's happened thus far this season, it would look like an over.
AM says, how is it difficult? You guys were so low on the Giants last week. The Cowboys defense made Ruck on the Giants look explosive. But the market told us going through the 6 and closing at 5.5.
I'm very frustrated with myself.
But the market screamed the Giants were the bet by going through the 6 to the 5.5. Sometimes the market takes precedent over the X's and O's for certain cappers. I just think that this is just so much volatility. I don't know who to trust and who I want to trust. I don't want to trust either of these teams, and I get that the Bears, it's and AM's been talking about these spots here. You want to bet 0-2 teams that are straight up. They've gone 0-2 straight up and 0-2 against spread, and they're at home. And here we have that opportunity with the Bears. I just don't think I can get there.
Just hearing that again just makes me want to pull the trigger. I think about all the spots I left on the table last week. All the spots I left on the table. I think I should do this. I'm getting that. It's so hard to press the button that I just got to press it. I'm on the Bears. I'm on the Bears money line.
And what are you getting?
I'm shopping right now. I see some 110s here. I could probably get better than that.
Well, AM saying that you can wait.
Yeah.
That the line might still keep moving towards the Cowboys. It'd be hard not to. D. Jenkins says, if you could only take one team total over here, which side are you taking? D. Jenkins, these totals that move 3.5, 4 points from the look ahead, everybody and their mama betting the over, I don't want anything to do with. It's just never been my MO. It's never brought me success. It's never been ever. Birdie also saying that he thinks you should wait if you want the Bears. So I would prefer Troy give you who you. It's very easy for me to say the Cowboys because of the issues with the Chicago secondary, but we just watched a Giants team at home put up 6 points against Washington and then put up 37 on the road in Dallas. So, Troy, who would you take a team total over if you were forced to put $1,000 on one team total over, the Cowboys or the Bears here?
I would put it on the Bears.
All right. Let's go and move on because I have invested in our next game.
I didn't bet it yet, Luke Chase. You can't say it yet, brother.
And Harold says Dallas easy. Let's roll. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers. The home opener at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California. Nice, man. Oh, Jesus, a plane crash at Coxwell and Danforth? What the? Okay. I will be looking into that here, but I need to stay focused. But that's nuts. That's crazy, Grant. It's absolutely nuts, but I'm going to stay focused. Thank you for letting me know, my friend. Here we go. I've invested heavily. Well, no. I've invested 2 units in this football game, and I'm interested in continuing this investment train. Arizona Cardinals, San Francisco 49ers, 70 Fahrenheit, mostly sunny, 6 miles per hour. Everybody knows I'm a 49ers guy. My family's from San Francisco. And I've always been a 49ers guy. And I am on the Arizona Cardinals money line at plus 112 here. And you guys who cap with me for years always know that these NFC West games I under, and I've already been cashing on them this year. And for some reason here, I have not bet the full game under, but I probably get there. It's climbing. So what I did do is I bet the 49ers team total under 21.5 at plus money, plus 101. I got that in my pocket, and I'm now going to decide if I want to do other things. So I got the Cardinals money line at plus 112 and the 49ers team total under 21.5 at plus 101. And this is not a bet on the Arizona Cardinals for me. It is a fade of the San Francisco 49ers. That is what I'm doing here. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have the Niners are minus 1.5 and minus 115. We probably get more value out of this if I go to the money line, but the look ahead was opened up minus 1.5, got to 2.5, and actually came back to 1.5. And then when the games were over, this opened up as a pick'em. And it bounced all over the place. So it opened up as a pick'em. The Cardinals were getting juiced up to minus 1.5. Again, these are fully low limits at this point. They got up to minus 1.5 and minus 115. And then the line moved towards the Niners. Niners went to minus 1. And then it moved back towards Arizona. It's been just bouncing back and forth. And then there's been a pretty big move yesterday morning towards the Niners. They went from plus 1 at minus 112 to minus 1.5 at minus 113. So there was a pretty big move towards the 49ers, which I don't care about. When we get to the total for this one, we have a 43.5. It's just climbing. It looks like it's just, so the look ahead was 42.5. This opened up on Sunday night at 43. It got up to 44, came back to 43.5, dropped down to 43, and then came up again to 43.5. I see 44.5s out there too. A bunch of 44.5s. So I expect this to keep going up. I don't know if it will. So Dougie White says he'd rather have Mac Jones over the Cardinals quarterback. His name's Kyler Murray. That's funny. And I love Dougie Wise. We're both 49er fans, and it's a good one. When we get to the cash flow here, again, 56% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the 49ers. 80% of tickets are on the over, and 64% of cash is on the over. Cardinals come in off a 27-22 victory at home over the Panthers. They got up 27-3, and then they just took their foot off the gas. That happens. It got close, and the Panthers got an onside kick, and they had a chance to win the game. Birdie says, who's playing the secondary for the Cardinals? They have so many injuries, so many on defense. Yes, the Cardinals have all their injuries on defense, and the 49ers have all their injuries on offense. So let's discuss them because they're very important here. First off, Kyler Murray was 17-25 for 220 yards, touchdown, interception. McBride led receivers with 6 catches for 78 yards. Connor ran 11 times for 34 yards and touchdown, caught 1 pass for 18 yards. The pass rush finished with 3 sacks and 10 quarterback hits. I think that's an issue with the Panthers' offensive line, not sitting here saying this Cardinal pass rush is very strong. Baron Browning did have an interception. The Cardinals held the Panthers to 5 of 15 on third down, but they did allow them to go 3 of 4 in the red zone. Josh Sweat, signed a huge contract, $76.4 million over 4 years, and he had a big moment, strip sack, young at the Carolina 19, and Zaven Collins jumped on the ball, 7-0 lead. But there's injuries. Cornerback Max Melton with a knee injury, and defensive lineman LJ Collier with a knee injury as well. They both left in the first quarter, and 2 more cornerbacks, Garrett Williams with a knee injury and Will Johnson with a groin injury, left in the final minutes. They're so those 3 cornerbacks are listed as questionable right now. We would know if there was a bigger concern, but they're questionable. It's not good, but it exists. The injury-riddled 49ers coming off an impressive, I thought it was impressive, 26-21 win of the Saints behind the arm of Mac Jones. So the 49ers have started 2-0 for the fourth time since 2019. 2 of those years, they made it to the Super Bowl. The other year, NFC title game. Jones threw for 279 yards and a career high, tying 3 touchdowns. It is his best game since week 1 of the 2023 season. And it was his second career game with 3 touchdowns and at least 250 yards passing. He did fumble twice, of course. It's Mac Jones. He lost one of them. Brock Purdy week to week, so expect Mac Jones for the foreseeable future. Juwan Jennings caught 5 passes for 89 yards and a touchdown. He left with an ankle injury. He's listed as questionable this week, and he's crucial to this team. Now, Ricky Pearsall is stepping up. He caught 4 passes, 56 yards. Not as incredible as he was in week 1. McCaffrey ran 13 times for 55 yards, caught 6 for 52. The offense was 8 of 15 on third down. Perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone. Of course, George Kittle, hamstring, not going to be around. And Kyle Juszczyk is concussed. He's in concussion protocol. He's dealt with a couple of them already, so I don't know if he comes back this weekend. And, of course, Brandon Ayuk still recovering from the torn ACL and MCL in his right knee. The defense was strong enough, but it wasn't great. They held the Saints to 4 of 11 on third down, but allowed them to go perfect 3 for 3 in the red zone. The pass rush just doesn't look dynamic. They still have Nick Bosa, but 3 sacks, 5 quarterback hits. Cornerback Saron Neal is also in concussion protocol as well. Their guard, Ben Barch, suffered a high ankle sprain. He is out. Offensive tackle Spencer Buford suffered a knee injury in the 26-21 win over Saints. He's unlikely, but we'll get more information now. The guard, offensive tackle, cornerback, and all of the weapons that are not on the field, I think this is an opportunity, and the only one we will get with Mac Jones at quarterback, to sell the 49ers high. This is the only chance we are going to get, and I'm not going to miss it. Who better to fade your team than you? I'm on the Cardinals money line, 49ers team total in 21.5, and I still have interest in the under. Take it away, Troy. Cardinals, Niners.
Man, I do agree with you. I do agree with you, and this is a divisional price range where I want to fade the 49ers. I do want to see this market start to move back towards the Cardinals. Would much rather have a Cardinals. I guess I should say it this way. I would much rather have a Cardinals plus 114 that closes at minus 110. I'll tell you that. But I would feel much more confident if we started to see the flipping happen, especially in division. It's been so fruitful, so profitable that I'll definitely be looking for that. And my hand will be forced regardless of any X's and O's. If this line starts to flip or it appears like it's crossed that tipping point, I'm going to move on the Cardinals. But my problem is just major strength of schedule issues for me because the offensive line has looked pretty bad thus far. 31st grade per PFF in the run blocking category. Only 3.7 yards against the Panthers, and I think a lot of that has to do with their interior line play, which has been just so bad. And it just breaks my heart because this is a team that I was planning on betting quite a bit. I think the defense has a lot of upside, but again, like the defense has put up great grades so far, very impressive. But again, it's versus who with this Cardinals team. Now, this would be the perfect spot to do so. The decimated 49ers. I do think that the win was impressive, but this is the perfect time to fade them. And I'm going to be looking to do that. I just want to see some sentiment back towards the Cardinals, and then I'll be moving.
What do you think of this total? Can everybody, Grant Clark is saying it's super sketchy. Can I hear from you guys about this total? Because Troy watches me cash these NFC West unders over and over and over and over and over again. And yet this market feels a little different, right? I mean, usually at this point, we're down to a 42, 41 and a half. Usually the market's saying we're going to put out a real low total. And if you guys want to try to get underneath it, you can. And if you do, you get paid. Just like we did first half under, full game under, and Seahawks Niners. What do you think of this total here? It feels like it's creeping up. I thought it was going up.
Yeah, I think the total, it was going up. I think it is. I have a profile that I have saved here that has a move towards the over, and it's only resulted in unders in division to the tune of 71%. This low spread range really results in unders. That's why I was on the under in the Seahawks game, Seahawks 49ers in week 1. And that's actually probably where I think I want to join you. I expect low A dots from both quarterbacks. I expect them both to be focusing on running the ball. Clock's moving. Divisional rivalry. We know the unders have just crushed it in this division over the past 3 years. And at 44 would be very interesting to me.
Yeah, I want it. I want it. Remember my first half under in Seattle, San Francisco. I took first half in full game, but that was 21.5. 21.5 juice to the under. So it's a very different market here, which I just wanted to hear from everybody.
Yeah, did you move down the under, correct?
I doubled up on the Seattle San Francisco under first half full game.
There's 44s out here.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I'm taking the under in this game.
Wow. I may get there. At this point, it's just a team total on 21.5 plus 101. I'm really excited about watching this football game, too. I'm excited to see what Mac Jones does. I wish I could watch it with you, Dougie. Blunt and a beer. Watch this game together, cheering on our Niners, but I'd be fading them.
44.5.
See, that's really high. Like that, I'm just not used to it. It makes me think Mac Jones throws a pick six.
Pick six. I'm not going to double up on it, but I'm definitely going to be. I definitely just moved on this.
Mac
you can get 44.5 at a pick, brother.
Under 44.5. What book is that at? Is that a public?
ESPN bet.
Wow. All right, let's roll on. We have Troy moving. You haven't moved on the Cardinals yet, though. Just the under.
No, I have not, but I will be moving on the Cardinals if they close +1, or if I just want to see market moving back in the right direction.
Let's roll on to our Sunday nighter right here on Pub Sports Radio. Chiefs, Giants. I can almost taste the whiskey. I will be dry as can be until Sunday night here for Chiefs, Giants, MetLife Stadium, East Rutherford, New Jersey. 66 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 6 miles per hour winds. I think that this is the best bet I made, Troy, on the card. I really do. And we have faded the Kansas City Chiefs twice. We've cashed both times. And now I'm on the Chiefs double result at +100. I was surprised to get a plus money spot here. And I'm very curious to see where this line ends up. We watched that Giants Cowboys line go through the 6 to the 5.5, something that you brought to our attention over the last few years as being as successful as can be. And here we have the opposite. Now, I might want to do more than my investment here just on the Chiefs double result. I also think that the fact that this is at MetLife Stadium in East Rutherford, New Jersey, that they're in New York for this helps the Chiefs. It's been a tricky start, man. You know, Brazil against the Chargers, we know how good they are. You come home against the defending Super Bowl champions. I mean, a very tough start. Now you can get a little bit of feel good about yourselves for a second here against a really weak Giants team. Let's go over the line history here. We have a total at 45. This look ahead was 43 and it dropped down to 42. It came out on Sunday night at 42.5. It's climbed that much. 45. We have on the spread, the Giants, well, focus on the Chiefs. Chiefs are -6 at -109. The look ahead was 6.5, but that dropped down to 5.5. That, was at 5.5. And then when this came back out, it was a 6. At first it was very low. It's kind of bounced around with VIG, but at first it was low VIG and became more. Got up to -114. Now it's -109. Very curious to see where this ends up. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 75% of the tickets and 93% cash on the over, and the line moving quickly towards the over. I obviously want unders in all games that the Chiefs are involved in, but this one does not make me feel good because there is a sentiment or a sense that the Chiefs are sort of like a powder keg. Not that they're going to be able to explode offensively, without Xavier Worthy or without Rashee Rice, but just that they have all this pent-up anger. It's clear that they're an angry group right now, and that anger is going to explode at some point. Will that explode in offense? It's possible. and it's moving up. I'm not going to bet overs in Chiefs games. I don't think they're going to help your ROI or build your bankroll. 66 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 6 miles per hour. Chiefs coming off a 2017 loss at home to the Eagles in the rematch last year's Super Bowl. That was their first loss at home since December 25th, 2023. We talked about how there's no zigzag in the Super Bowl rematch. The champion has now won 8 and lost 3. The last time Andy Reid's Chiefs started 0-2 was in 2014. And that was the last time the Chiefs didn't make the playoffs. The Chiefs outgained the Eagles 294-216 in the loss. Mahomes continues to struggle without Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy. 16-29 for 187 yards, touchdown, and an interception. I think that as much of a problem as their lack of talent at wide receiver is their pedestrian running attack. At what point do we say, you know what? Pacheco's not that good. Kareem Hunt, we know, is just kind of average. But there was a belief that Pacheco might have been the guy. He's not. Of course, it was Mahomes who led the Chiefs in rushing. He carried the ball 7 times for 66 yards and a touchdown. Hunt 8 for 31. Pacheco ran 10 times for 22 yards. Now, I know that's up against the Eagles, but they show nothing week in and week out. Travis Kelce caught 4 for 61, the lead receivers. The Chiefs had 7 passing first downs. Troy, 7. It's a different Chiefs team, man. Don't let your vividus bias cost you money. They were just 4-12 on third down, 1-2 in the red zone. The defense was strong, kept them in the game. They held the Eagles to just 4 first downs and 94 yards passing. The Eagles only had 4 first downs passing. The Chiefs only had 7 first downs passing. The pass rush looks very average to start the year, continued to do so. 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits. They also allowed the Eagles to go perfect 2 for 2 in the red zone. Mike Dana with a hip injury and Christian Fulton with an ankle injury left in the first quarter. They're both listed as questionable right now. Giants coming off a 40-37 overtime loss at Dallas. 14th straight loss to Dak Prescott. Russell Wilson, 30-41 for 450 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. I think he'll probably be good here. I mean, he's got to look in the mirror and think, how many more opportunities am I going to get to go up against Patrick Mahomes and have everybody watching me? This could be the last one. And I expect and look at what Wan'Dale Robinson and Malik Neighbors are doing. Malik caught 9 for 167 and 2 touchdowns. Robinson caught 8 for 142 and a touchdown. Scadabo ran 11 times for 45 yards in his first career touchdown. He also caught 2 for 14. The Giants put up 506 yards of offense, 6 of 14 on third down. But again, we talked about this in the Cowboys spot, just 1 of 5 in the red zone. So Andrew Thomas was out with a foot injury. So we all saw James Hudson playing in his place, and good God, was that awful. In the first drive alone, he drew 4 penalties in a span of 6 plays. They went 110 yards, but the 6 penalties and the 60 yards created a field goal situation. The Giants finished with 14 penalties for 160 yards. That's the most yardage since getting 175 against a team called the Boston Yankees in 1947. 160 yards of penalties. The pass rush was strong at times, but everything else was terrible. Cowboys put up 478 total yards. Let the Cowboys go 3 for 3 in the red zone. Giants finished with 3 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Drew Phillips had an interception. This is a get right spot for the Chiefs. But I'm still only on the double result at this point. Take it away, Troy. Chiefs Giants.
I moved on this as you were talking. I need to get my money down on this Chiefs team, and it's crazy for me to say. That's why I'm kind of smirking and smiling over here. I did bet the double result right with you. What number did you get on the double result?
Plus 100. What did you get?
What?
Yeah.
Can you tell me what it's at now? I just bet a minus 130.
Jesus. Yeah, I can tell you right now because I got it at 365. Wow. The double result still plus 100.
Then I am selling this ticket right now. I got bet 365. Come on. Let me get some of that. All right. I'll be betting the plus 100.
Yeah, that's the reason why I said it was
Wow.
I felt it was the best bet on the card for me. You know, a no vig situation here to be ahead of the Giants first half in full game. It seems like a pretty wonderful situation.
So my concern with this game, obviously, I think what the Giants just did offensively is not going to be repeatable. Maybe it will be with just because of one element of this matchup, and it's the fact that Spagnuolo is a very stubborn defensive coordinator. He wants to blitz. He wants to apply pressure. You don't want to blitz Russell Wilson. You don't want to leave any receiver, any competent receiver, one-on-one with Russell Wilson and his moon ball ability, because he's been incredible. I mean, the past few years against the blitz, he's been lights out. Like 2024, his passer rating goes up off the charts to 112 from a 97 average. His passing grade was an 88 from a 77 average. Like, do not blitz this guy. Don't leave these receivers one-on-one so he could throw it up there, because a well-thrown ball down the field that's that high, the offensive player has such a massive advantage, and Russell Wilson is able to exploit that better than anybody. I do not believe in what I've seen from this Giants offense. I don't believe in Russell Wilson. I think it's a great time to fade the Giants high after what they did against Dallas. It's a primetime game. This Chiefs team is 0-2. They're going to come out pissed off. I love the double result. I think it's a great, fantastic price at Bet365 at plus 100, because everywhere else I'm looking, you can only get minus 130-ish, minus 135, minus 137 and some. So, yeah, I think the plus 100 double result is the way to bet this game. And I'm not a believer. I've been fading the Chiefs pretty much every game for almost a year now. And so you know my sentiment on this team, but now it's time to buy ultra low on this Chiefs team against a team that's incompetent, and that's the New York Giants.
This is the rare time in the history of Patrick Mahomes where he is a big favorite on the road. We would have faded him in this situation 10 out of 10 times, where they're a powder keg. They need to feel good about themselves. They're so stressed out. You can see it. They need to go put up some points, win by margin, smile, and move on. I think that's what's going to happen. And Drewski saying Kansas City should not be favored. There's, cappers that don't like the spot, and that's probably. You say what, my man?
Should not be favored. Did he say that wrong?
But that's why I think that this is a wonderful spot. We don't want it's always risky when you're on a favorite and everybody's on them. So if people do think that, because look at this. Do you think you're ever going to be able to sell the Giants high this year? Do you think them scoring 37 points against the porous Cowboy defense is our one opportunity? I mean, that's all possible. I also, as we dive into this a little bit more, the Bills double result and Chiefs money line plus 100. I think that will be my addition here to get a little bit more action.
I like that. We'll be live for these primetime games, and we could.
So I'm gonna figure that out a little bit more, but it's fun, guys. It's fun. Remember, we've been capping together every day for a long time, and it's okay if we don't agree. It's never it's important. It's good to not agree, because then you figure out whether you have the conviction on the other side. So, the Chiefs are going to make this real easy for us on Sunday night. They're going to make it so easy for us on Sunday night. So that is the Sunday nighter, and I'm uncomfortable with the total climbing up to 45. There's no way. I respect the market moving over towards the over, and I do not want to over with the Chiefs ever. So I'm just going to focus on Chiefs winning, taking care of business. Here we go. We move on to Monday Night Football, and is this ever a beauty? Good God, is this a beautiful football game ahead for us? 8:15 p.m. Eastern with the Detroit Lions, 1-1, 0-1 on the road. The Baltimore Ravens, 1-1, 1-0 home. M&T Bank Stadium in Baltimore, Maryland. Charm City, 70 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 7-mile-per-hour winds. Line history-wise, we have a 5 right now. I'm looking at a bunch of 4.5s as well. The look ahead was 6.5. Sunday night, this came out at 6, 5.5, 5, possibly a 4.5 on the way. Market wise, I would tell you that the Lions are very live here. But we saw the Lions outdoors put up 14 points against a good Packers defense. We saw the Lions at home, inside, where Goff dominates, destroy the Bears and put up 52 points. Now they're back outside against the Ravens. And I respect this move towards Detroit. I'm very interested to hear how everybody is hammering the game. This total is climbing. It opened up at the look ahead was 50.5. It came out on Sunday night at 52. It's dropped a half point since then, 51.5. I am looking at 52s, and I do see a 52.5. That 52.5 is juiced to the under. AM like in the Lions here. Gorky like in the over and the Ravens in this one. Harold Williams says, damn, I hate to say it, but he leans to the Ravens -5.5. AM says Goff doesn't get the respect he has earned. I think Goff's a great quarterback. It's just we do see a difference indoors and outdoors with him. But he has proven himself since being jettisoned by the Rams that he is a quality quarterback. There's no doubt about that. This team went 15-2 last year, and he was Mr. Consistent. Cash flow wise for our Monday nighter, 74% of the tickets on Baltimore and 92% of the cash. Well, if that doesn't have you running up to the window to bet the Lions, I'm not sure what does. That is very appealing to the Detroit side. If 92% of the cash is coming in on the Ravens, the line's moving against them. Obviously, you want to know or move on the team that's facing them. 85% of tickets on the over and 91% of cash on this over. Lions coming off an easy 52-21 victory at home over the Bears. They dropped the opener at Green Bay, and they have always shown this ability to bounce back. It's uncanny. They have not had consecutive losses in the regular season over 2.5 years. Dan Campbell knows how to get the most out of this squad. Detroit had more than 500 yards on offense, 5 passing touchdowns, 2 scores on the ground for the first time in franchise history. Johnny Morton calling the plays, 8.8 yards per play. Unbelievable. Goff threw for 334 yards, matched a career high with 5 touchdown passes. Amon-Ra Brown caught 3 of them. He got 9 for 115 yards. Jameson Williams caught 2 passes for 108 yards, a touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs ran 12 times for 94 yards and a touchdown. And we talked about this. 6 of 7 in the red zone. Oof. Wow. They had a bad start in Green Bay. The pass rush just didn't look good. They were nowhere to be found. It didn't make sense. You know, this Aiden Hutchinson-led pass rush was number 1 in the NFL through 5 games before he got hurt, and then was 29th. And they did nothing in that first game. They had 4 sacks. Kirby Joseph had an interception. They did allow the Bears to go 7 of 13 on third down and 2 of 2 in the red zone, but they were in control all game long. The Lions were 3 points away from matching a franchise record for points in the game in the regular season. And the Bears were 3 points from tying the most they've ever allowed in the regular season. Marcus Davenport had the team's first sack of the season in the third quarter. It took 6 quarters. 6 full quarters, they had 0 sacks. He left the game with ankle and shoulder injuries. He's listed as questionable right now. And Shane Zelstra, their backup tight end, was hurt during the game. He's listed as questionable. Baltimore comes in off 41-17 home victory versus the Browns. They were outgained 323-242 in the victory. It took them a while to heat up. 81 yards of offense in the first half. Running game struggled. 2 first downs on the ground and 45 yards total. It was wild. 45 yards were the lowest team total since Jackson took over at quarterback in 2018. Of course, not accounting for the games that he's missed. Derrick Henry ran 11 times for 23 yards and fumbled for a second straight game. Lamar Jackson was 19-29, 225 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. He ran just twice for 13 yards as well. Zay Flowers led receivers with 7 catches for 75 yards. DeAndre Hopkins, in games where the Ravens are going to smash, in games where they're double-digit favorites, we should take Lamar Jackson under his rushing prop in all of them. If he doesn't need to risk, he doesn't risk. The Ravens were just 3 of 12 on third down, 3 of 4 in the red zone. Pass rush had 2 sacks, 9 quarterback hits. Nate Wiggins had an interception. They returned 61 yards to the Cleveland 5. But they lost Kyle Van Noy to a hamstring injury. It's multiple weeks for Kyle Van Noy. Jair Alexander, inactive. Was it a knee injury, or did they just not want him out there? I don't know the truth. Baltimore's Marlon Humphrey hurt his groin. He's listed as questionable this week. So it's possible that there's no Van Noy, no Jair Alexander, no Marlon Humphrey. Isaiah likely missed the game as well. He's questionable to play this week. Take it away, Troy, our Monday nighter. Join us right here on Pub Sports Radio for the live stream. Lions, Ravens.
Well, I think you know where I'm about to go with this game based on this market. Would you say that this number opened at 6?
Yes, I would.
Then this is a no doubt all day slam dunk. I don't even care about what's happening in the X's and O's, to be honest, because this is a must bet market, in my opinion. This is the cash cow of the NFL. Teams that open at 6 or higher and close below 6 with it's an incredible ATS, but when you start looking at high totals, right, totals above 44, is 80% ATS over the last 3 years, 60% on the money line. And I've been a part of that. In this sample is a game with the Lions and the Cowboys. The Lions won that, or no, the Lions lost by 1 that game. Also in this is the Lions Chiefs in week 1 of 2023. Lions won that game and cashed me a +6, +5, a +6, a +5, and the money line. So I'm going to be trying to get 2 bets on the spread and a bet on the money line. I want to make sure that this market's closing below 6. Pretty sure we got confirmation at this point. I don't know why I'm hesitant to want to bet this money line just because we're buying the Lions extremely high. But here's the thing about this Lions team is we know that they have the caliber. We know Jared Goff could execute offense. We know that they still have good pieces on the offensive line. They're not elite like they used to be, but they're still a good offensive line. This offense is going to come together. It's a new situation. They had a new offensive coordinator, new offensive line. I mean, it was a completely new offense this season. So watching them come out in week 1 against this Packers defense, which I think is elite and was fully prepared, they were at a huge handicap. I don't like the fact that they're outdoors, but hey, I bet them against the Chiefs in week 1 a few years ago, the very same Lions team, and I'm 80% ATS the past 3 years. I cannot pass this spot up. So there is a 5 that you could turn into a 6 for -125. I'm going to take a +6 on the Lions -125. I'm going to take a Lions +5.5 ticket, and I'm going to take the Lions money line. I have not bet the money line yet, but I am looking for the best price right now.
What was the vig on the 5.5?
The 5.5 -110.
Okay, you are in the business here, and then line
and then
shopping
plus 210. I can get a +210 on the money line. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, I'm going to move on the Lions as soon as this show's over. I got a lot of stuff I'm going to add here. I think it's been a very helpful show. For the ticket count, D. Jenkins, here for the total, we have 85% of tickets on the over and 93% of cash on the over. 85% of tickets, 93% of cash. I wonder if this is one of those games where it starts out slower and then heats up. I wonder. I mean, we know the total is just going to get hammered and hammered and hammered. So it doesn't interest me here. I do think that this is a game where the Lions want to see where they match up against the Ravens, and the Ravens probably want to see the same. So,
and they probably remember coming into Baltimore a few years ago and getting absolutely slapped.
Yeah. Big Show says we're just terrible with mobile quarterbacks. Of course, he is a Lions backer. Top Set says he loves the Ravens. I find it hard to imagine a spot where the Lions can't be in this. The first week of the year, a lot going on. The Packers had all this emotion, intensity. Then the Lions were sort of a powder keg coming back home, but they got right. And the Ravens score it was nuts. It should not have been 41-17. The Browns should have covered that easily. They played well enough. Well, I shouldn't say they played well enough because of block punts and fumbles and interceptions. But what was the score that you had for Ravens Browns? What's called the no noise or whatever?
Yeah, the noise canceled score.
Yeah. What was that?
It was 23-18 Ravens.
So I don't.
And if anything, this Lions team should be able to stop the run. And I know Lamar is going to be a problem mobility-wise from a straight drop back. I don't think that it's the problem of – I think they have the personnel to defend the RPO, but I don't think they have the personnel that they haven't shown the ability to stop the mobile quarterback from a straight drop.
I think that the poor performance in Green Bay is the only reason why we have this line. Now, it's probably been bet down to where it should be. But let's just take a look now. Let's just take a closer look here at these outdoor games for Goff. I want to just go a quick once over, and then we'll put a bow on the show. So pull up Goff. Obviously, we know it was a terrible game in Green Bay to start the year. We talk about, his game log and how bad he is outdoors. But let's just go through it last year. Let's go through it. So the first game outdoors was in Green Bay. So he didn't have an outdoor road game until week 9. And he didn't play very well. He was 18 for 22 for 145 yards, but they won 24-14. Then he has an outdoor game against the Bears. He goes 23 of 32 for 336 yards. Then he has an outdoor game against the 49ers. He goes 26 of 34 for 303 yards. He has back-to-back 300-yard games in his last 2 road games. He only had 3 last year. So it's possible that you could say the performance against Green Bay is an outlier. It's an aberration because he didn't do this last year. Back-to-back 300-yard games on the road, outdoors. 6 touchdowns and 0 interceptions in those 2 games. So take it however you want to take it. I think that I agree with Troy. I think lines need to be bet. Now, I'm not going to be as bullish as you. Probably just one bet for me. I'm going to move on that now. Do you want to touch on the total before we put a bow on this?
No, I don't think there's any value in the total relative to the side in this game. This market is extremely bullish in favor of the Lions.
I'm excited. We have excellent showcase games for us for our live streams. Join us here on Pub Sports Radio. Let's review all action here from both Troy Torrence and myself. We also were given the Ron Crawford spreadsheet play today. It is on the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to move on the Bills. I did move on that plus 100 double result money line Chiefs with the Bills. I'm gonna do that for sure. I'm wondering if I want something else on them too. I'm not sure.
On the Chiefs?
No, because I'm if I add that, I have 2 units on the Chiefs. That's fine. I don't need more than that. Yeah, I'm thinking about adding another one with the Bills at 6.5. Thinking about it. So that was the Thursday nighter Dolphins Bills, which we sort of capped ourselves onto the Bills, which I was not expecting to do. Troy, you can go over your action first. Why don't you head down your card?
Sure. So I start off with the Colts. I bet the Colts -3. I got a -130 price on that, so I paid a little bit of juice to get that 3. A fair amount of that sample does land Colts -3, but the Colts win that game at a ridiculous rate. I got Colts plus Bills money line -134. And Colts plus Falcons money line plus 130. I have Jets +7 at -102. I have and that's a spot to be hard to be confident in after what we've seen from the Jets and the questions at quarterback, but I still like it. The Texans money line plus 110. I will probably be adding to that position. The Browns +8.5 -115. And I do like that spot for the Browns, even though I'm very high on the Packers from a season standpoint. Chargers -2.5 -110. I think that has to be bet. And especially divisional home favorites at 2.5 have been very profitable historically. 49ers and Cardinals under 44.5. I added that one after talking out with you and after checking in with the market, got the green light, pulled the trigger. Chiefs double result plus 100. Bills. So Bills double result and Chiefs money line plus 100. Got a unit on each of those. And then we're going to close it out. I'll be sweating my balls off Monday night. Lions +6 -125. Lions +5.5 -110. And Lions money line plus 210. Right now I have a half a unit on the Lions money line, but if we see this market move to 4, you can just go ahead and up that to a full unit. But I know for our show purpose, we're gonna have it at 1 unit.
Oh, I love it. That sounds like a good looking card. Sounds like we're gonna have
and the cash cow cash tonight for the MLB, which was huge to get me back to around double-digit units on the season. So let's go.
I love to hear it. I'm on the Green Bay Cleveland first half under 21.5 at plus 100, full game under 42 at minus 107, and I'm gonna bet the Browns at 7.5. I don't think I'm gonna pay for the 8 and deal with the consequences of not moving on it earlier. Then I'm leaving Colts Titans alone. I am going to be studying the Vikings and the over in Cincinnati, Minnesota. I'm not moving on that tonight. I'm going to be studying the Patriots. I'm not moving on that tonight. The Rams-Eagles was a fascinating discussion. I guess I'm just going to wait now. That was a really interesting discussion. Then if Tyrod Taylor is in, I'm going to bet the under as soon as I find that information out in Jets Buccaneers. I'm going to be moving on the Raiders, but I need to know how exactly to bet it. So I'd like to hear that Jaden Daniels is in. If not, I want to know. I'm not going to go into it guessing here. I want to know. The under in Atlanta, Carolina, I will be moving on. I tripled up already on Texans money line, the Houston Jacksonville over 21.5 and the full game over 43.5. I know there's cappers against me on the under in that one and also on the Jaguars, and that's part of the fun. I'm off of Broncos Chargers. I'm going to be moving on the Seahawks in some regard, and I've got to figure out exactly how to do that. I'm off of Bears Cowboys. Then the Cardinals money line, I bet the team total under 21.5. I would like to join Troy on the full game under, but I'm going to wait on that. I'm almost certain I'm going to be on it. I can't get a 44.5 right now unless I pay for it. I'm just wondering if it continues to go up. Then Chiefs double result at plus 100. I think that's the best bet on the board. And then I'm going to also add the Bills double result and Chiefs money line. Troy added that as well. That's at plus 100. And then I'm going to pump the brakes on that one. Then on the money, I'm going to bet the Lions here right now. And that is our show for.
Well, I also, for just the bets that I will be betting, if the Lions stay in, if I get the right line, Raiders plus 4, plus 4.5, Patriots plus 1, plus 1.5. That gets up to 2.5. I won't like it. Bears money line, if I just got to get bigger ball sack to pull the trigger on that one. And the Cardinals money line, I just want to see some movement back towards the Cardinals to feel comfortable, and I'll pull the trigger.
There's so much on the line here for us to succeed. It was a very costly week, and it can get away from you. This is as important a week as I can remember in a long time. So let's go get it. Thank you to everybody in the chat for your support. Susie Easton, Big Zoe, Lou Chase Fox, The Wager Detective, AJ Stogstill, D. Jenkins, Harold Williams, Drewski, Grant Clarkson. It's a great, great group here. Thank you guys for joining us. Fat Wally in the house. Dougie Wise, AM, Top Set. You guys are beauties, man. Thank you for the support. Truly means so much to us. We have nothing without you guys. Coin, Jared TG, Big Show Picks, Homer Gaudet, Slatsy, Birdie. Wonderful. I'm pumped up, man. And I feel like we let you guys down last week, and there's a lot on the line now. And we put a lot of work into this. Now we got to hammer, attack the board, and get back into the black, the sweet, sweet black where we belong. Lou Chase, Rich H, all you guys, thank you so much. Thank you to Jose Bouquet. Troy, can you give us our last words and let's us into the future?
Well said, Jimmy. It's so important to have a bounce back week here. I believe we do that. I love the teamwork that we've been putting together, and it just grows with every season that passes. And we're gonna dominate this year. I fully believe that's the third week. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. Even though the NFL is more of a sprint than a marathon, a lot of race left, and we're gonna kill it, Jimmy. I fully believe it. There's a reason I'm here at Pub Sports Radio. It's because I've been indoctrinated, funneled into the system, addicted to the market and the market analysis, and I think that's going to lead us in the right direction today. Jimmy, our fearless leader here at Pub Sports Radio, always a pleasure to be up here sitting with you, breaking down the slates, and the cappers in the chat. Just absolutely another reason, one of the main reasons I'm part of this community is because we have legitimate talent here that I believe in. Love the movement. Pub Sports Radio, man. The best damn community in the industry. Let's get out there this week, okay? Let's get out there and leche los bookmakers.